Social distancing is an important and necessary tool to fight the spread of coronavirus.
But it's terrible for the theater.
Theater is inherently communal. It's about people gathering and sharing an experience in the same room.
I'm alone in my living room.
Well, not entirely alone.
But when you live by the idea that the show must go on, canceling performances and closing your doors seems unimaginable.
This has been a difficult time, not just for Antaeus, but for all performing arts organizations.
So we're asking for your help.
If you care about Antaeus,
if you love theater,
if you believe the arts are also important for the health of our communities,
donate today.
Because for all of us to make it through this uncertain time.
And be here for you when things get back to normal.
And social distancing is a thing of the past.
Antaeus needs your help.
So please make a gift today, whether it's $5 or $5,000.
$10,000.
So that we can all open our doors again and welcome you back when this crisis is over.
And in the meantime, please stay safe.
Stay healthy.
Wash your hands.
Sing happy birthday twice.
Flatten the curve.
Take care of yourself.
We'll see you soon.
Greetings, I'm Admiral Denzel. The application you submitted to adopt a Science Division Tribble was developed by Starfleet to identify individuals with a certain desirable skill set. Advances in Federation technology have made it possible to partner with Tribble agents rescued from their home world before it was destroyed. Science Division has restricted Tribble reproduction and developed translation software for your personal access display device, or PAD. If you don't have a pad on hand, you can communicate via more primitive means. Tribbles are social creatures. Yours will respond with gentle vibrations and trills when you interact. When left alone, your Tribble will continue to trill, but will do so less frequently to avoid irritating its human companion. When you use your pad to inform your Tribble that you are on duty, it will begin actively seeking disguised Klingon agents. Starfleet has authorized any means necessary to catch the Klingons. Approach targets under the guise of showing off your new pet. Tell friends and coworkers that Tribbles have favorites, and suggest playing a game to see who your Tribble likes best. Refusal to play is a dead giveaway. Starfleet is entrusting you with sensitive Federation intelligence. If you must leave data unattended, assign your Tribble to watchdog duties. Set your Tribble on top of the object that you wish to protect, and if a Klingon agent attempts to retrieve that object, your Tribble will alert you. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but practical jokers at Science Division program an auxiliary translation function that cues your Tribble to falsely identify your friends as Klingon agents. But do not try this with Gorns or Tellarites. Good luck, recruit. The fate of the Federation is in your hands.
Good evening and welcome to another virtual celebration brought to you by your friends here at, now, say it with me, GaaaysInSpaaace. Tonight, we're joined by two of our favorite people in the final frontier. We're thrilled to be welcoming from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the one and only ARMIN SHIMERMAN and his amazing wife, Kitty Swink. Plus, brand new live Trek-inspired musical performances by Nathan Bonk. Now, please, welcome your host, Dan Deeby.
Hey everybody, welcome to another virtual celebration. I know we call it virtual, but oh my God, the amount of work that goes into making something that doesn't actually exist is flabbergasting, friends. But we are so happy to do it. We're so happy to be back again. And we are especially happy to be welcoming our special guests tonight. ARMIN SHIMERMAN, Kitty Swink, let's get their videos on so we can say hello.
There you go.
You guys won't let me.
Oh.
Walt, would you try enabling?
Sure. Katie, try it again.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Hey,
There we go.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
here, I'll move over, honey. Hey,
Hello. Hi. It's great to see you guys. How are you?
good. How are you, Dan?
We're hanging in there. We're pretty good. I was saying, Rich and I were talking about this, and we're very lucky in that we are sheltering in together, and we still like each other. So things are good.
That is good. That's very good. The opposite would be terrible.
Yeah.
And it's exactly where we are. Thank God we have each other.
Yeah. It's it's been such an amazing time for us to live through with things that I don't think any of us ever imagined in our wildest dreams would come true. I mean, we're here in the middle of Manhattan, and we can walk out on the street and be the only person on the street.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That is amazing.
How have you guys been dealing with it? We started everything out tonight with the message from your theater, and I think it's so important. Oh God, I almost forgot. The reason we showed that commercial about the app-connected Tribble is that the people at Science Division, LLC, are giving away one free Tribble tonight to one randomly selected visitor who's here with us. We're going to do that at the end of the show, but and they'll be on in a little bit to talk about it. It's the coolest Tribble you'll ever have, because I'm sure a lot of people out there already have a few, but this one, very special.
Well, we have the Tribbles that you gave us.
Yes.
We don't
Thank
have
you.
one that identifies Klingons that way.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at identifying Klingons, so if they don't look like Michael Dorn, they're probably not.
In fact, Michael Dorn drove all the way up here from his house, which is quite a ways away, so he could pick up some of my homemade bread. And then we stood 6 feet apart on the front lawn and talked about it.
Oh, how hard is it to not hug? Can we talk about that really quick?
Really hard. It's really hard.
It is difficult. It is very difficult, but we're managing.
Yeah. But Dorney's he's like family.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about how this is impacting your theater specifically, but also just local theaters in general across the country.
Before she does that, Dan, continue your question. I'm just going to try and get some more light on the subject here.
Oh, there he goes. So the reason why we sent you that clip is because it was from the show that Armin directed that we had to close 2 weeks into the run. So that's really hard on those actors and the directors and the designers. And we had sold out that weekend. It was a Thursday. We closed the theater. We had sold that weekend out. So that's hard, because the thing about theater is it's not virtual. What makes it so thrilling is that especially our theater is quite intimate. So you not only spend time in a room with the actors, but the audience is the last character. Wouldn't you say that's the case?
Always, yes.
And at our theater, our actors, many of whom you guys know, Linda Park, Armin, me, Rhonda, who you saw in the clip, a lot of us, Dakin Matthews, who founded the theater, Harry Groner, we come out and hang out with you after the show. So we as a company, we like to say that we're a family of artists and audiences, and we miss that. And I think the audiences miss that. In fact, I know you have some friends of Antias in the virtual room tonight, and they would tell you the same thing, I guess, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it must be strange to be a New York resident and not have the Broadway shows operating either, or any of the other theaters in New York and vicinity. Theater is essential to the economy of New York City, and is why people often go to New York City. So to have them all closed down is got to be devastating. And we think in the theater community anyway, that when the green light comes back on and people are allowed to do what they normally do, we think the theater perhaps will be the last thing that gets resurrected. People will be a little leery, I think, of sitting together in a small room, as Katie's just described it, and hanging out together and watching live actors spit at them. So, that may be a problem.
Well, maybe they'll just limit the splash zone seating that is for sale. That could be.
The theater just barely survives, so to give up any of those seats in order to have a sufficient amount of room between people makes the theater not financially doable.
But what I would say is if you can, I mean, we're giving money to food banks and rescues and all that stuff, but we're also giving money to arts organizations, because when we come back, we will all find our humanity through those arts organizations. So if you want to give to NTS, that's lovely, but give to some place that means something to you. That, it really, in the video, they said $5, and they made that 8 weeks ago, that video. But whatever it is that's meaningful to you, to a place that's meaningful to you, whether it's a museum or a theater or a chamber or a social group, whatever is, or to GaaaysInSpaaace.
Whatever makes your life richer, support them. They need it.
Yeah, they do. And we're old, so we feel like it's incumbent upon us to help the people that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And another quick point to this, and then we're going to open this up for some live video questions from our attendees. But just to highlight exactly how bizarre things are in New York City, the 24-hour bodega that is right downstairs from us has to close early. They didn't have a lock installed on their door. They had to completely they had to put up a wooden panel reinforced because there was it was always unlocked. How bizarre is that?
Bizarre.
Life is very bizarre. We're all learning to do things and to experience things we never thought possible. About a year and a half ago, I got a book about the 1918 flu epidemic, and I thought, wow, that will never happen again. And here, no more than 2 years later, after my reading that book, we're experiencing the same thing. And the very problems that they had 100 years ago, we are having as well. And unfortunately, sometimes we modern people haven't learned from what history has taught us.
We met in Manhattan. That's where we got to know each other. So it's so hard for us to see what's happened to the place that we called home for so long.
Yeah, it is a.
It isn't just Manhattan. It's many cities around the country, around the world. Everybody is sheltering in place. Some less than others, but in large cities, it has to be done, or people will die.
Have you guys taken the subway? Have you been on a subway or a bus, or you just walk everywhere?
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, we are in all the time here in Manhattan. It's just too dense and just absolutely not safe. We are very fortunate that we have jobs that we can do from our home, and that's an incredible privilege. But we recognize not everyone can do that, and some people do have to, brave the subways and public transit still.
We saw a news clip the other day that on some of the subways in Manhattan and the boroughs, they put in some sort of ultraviolet light contraption to irradiate the cars so that they would be safer.
Yes, I saw that. Wasn't that very Tron-esque? It looked very Tron-like.
It was very Tron-esque.
And that, by the way, everyone, that was the first gentleman of GaaaysInSpaaace, Mr. Richard Hart. His, babe, why don't you turn on your camera real quick so you can wave? And there he is.
Hi, how's everyone going? Thanks for coming, everyone. And yeah, thank you for your time, Kitty and Armin. We really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and open this up to some participant questions. We have working with us tonight, Kitty and Armin. I'd like you to meet our Chief of Operations, keeping things moving here, Walt Ribeiro. Walt, give a wave. And
hello.
Hello, Walt. And we have also our Chief of Security and sometimes phenomenal performer, Kira Knotts, Kira is in charge of making sure that if anyone gets out of line or tries any kind of funny business, they eject them immediately.
You're out.
Keep these.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Kira. Thank you for your help.
Please keep us safe.
And don't
I
eject
will.
right away.
You have my word.
Okay.
And I have to give a quick apology to some of the attendees and Kira that have been going in between panelists and attendees very quickly. My mouse is having some Butterfinger issues, and I keep hitting people by mistake. So my apologies, anyone that's there. And if you guys get kicked out by mistake, I'm really sorry.
Rich will never forgive you.
I'm very used to human error.
And I'm sure it's the mouse, my love. I'm sure it's the mouse. All right.
And that's why you still like each other.
Exactly. Okay, Walt, who do we have up for our first question?
Okay, so for our first question, let me just bring him in, and it will be Hugh Tipping. So, Hugh, you may have to unmute your microphone. Let me just see if this, there he goes. Did that work? No?
Nope.
Here, let me,
I was able to unmute.
Okay.
All right, well, while we figure that out.
The answer is 2 hours.
You figured it was going to be the makeup question, right?
It's always the makeup question.
Always
So
the
I
makeup.
figured the answer is 2 hours.
Love it. Love it.
So really quick, Hugh, are you having trouble to unmute your audio? There, it looks like you're
No, I'm
you're
okay.
yeah.
I unmuted
Okay.
and then you muted me, so I think I'm all right now.
Oh.
We Are Hugh is also a member of the GaaaysInSpaaace team. He was our original chief of operations last week, and the work that he put in made last week's event work. I mean, I'm actually embarrassed by the blessing of riches I have with my team members. They're all so talented and so good at what they do that last week we had Kate Mulgrew, Bob Picardo, and Garrett Wong surprised us with a little hello. And the man at the controls that night was We Are Hugh Tipping. So we wanted to, you know, as an added thank you to Hugh, give him a chance to say hello to you guys and maybe ask a question if you have one.
Well, hi guys, nice to see you. I tried to think of some intelligent question about your theater company and theater work, but I couldn't.
Quite all right.
I think you guys do some great work, and the video I saw earlier on was really just top notch. I really enjoyed that.
Good.
We have some people who are enormously creative. We've done, I would say, Kitty can answer this question better than I, about a dozen of these videos for various projects that we do at the theater. Hello, Hugh. And they always turn out very, very well. They're sometimes better than the productions.
Oh,
wow. But not this one, because our measure for measure was top notch. But they are great, and I recommend to anyone who is interested in our theater that if we put out a video, do watch it. Even if you don't come to see the play, the videos themselves are just incredibly good.
If you go to our website, you'll find a really funny one, which was a year-end appeal video about actors needing clothes, and we're all pixelated because we're standing there naked. So I'm just saying, if that's interesting, go for it.
Hey,
So
it'll
what's
be
the
interesting for me. Yeah, thanks guys, and thanks for helping out GaaaysInSpaaace. We really appreciate it. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Thank
You don't
you
have
so
a question that's not theater related?
He wants to ask about the makeup. Let's just get down to it. You wanted to ask about the makeup.
How many hours were you in that chair every time you had to wear those ears?
2 hours.
But how long did it take to get off?
Yes, see, the really interesting question is the one that Kitty just posed. No one ever asks that, and that really was the harder part. How long does it take to get off? It was a shorter period of time. It was probably about 45 to 55 minutes to take off, but a much more difficult time because in the morning, when it took 2 hours to put it on, I could use the time to either memorize lines, run lines with the other actors, think about what I was going to do that day. But at the end of the day, usually after 16 hours of work, and everyone has said goodnight, and that was really depressing. Everyone has said goodnight. And Karen Westerfield, my makeup artist, and I were left in the chair. I was left in the chair, she above me. We still had another 45 to 55 minutes of work to do. And both of us desperately wanted to go home after a long day, especially if we had to work the next day.
Oh goodness, I can't even imagine. I've only done a little theater myself. I've never had to endure that kind of makeup session, but I like the idea of using the time wisely, working on your lines. That's pretty cool.
It is probably one of the, I won't say the main reasons, but certainly a major factor in why Renee and I became such good friends is that he had about a 50-minute makeup process, and then he had hair works to go into, but we bonded a great deal because his chair was right next to mine, and the romance that you see in the show was probably inspired, partially anyway, by the time that we spent together waiting to be made up.
Excellent. Comrades in arms, for sure. Yeah, I had actually met the two of you at Mission New York a few years ago. I was there on the first day. No one was there. And you guys just sat and chatted with me for about 15, 20 minutes because it was kind of empty, and really enjoyed that.
Well, Renee, bless his heart, and me to some extent, are very much people. And although we're aliens in space, but we really enjoy talking to people. We really appreciate the people who were kind enough to come over and talk to us. So I'll return the thank you and say thank you for coming over and talking to us.
I think most Trek people are that way. It's a big-hearted group.
Yeah, I generally find that myself, and I'm fortunate to be among them, as well as to be part of GaaaysInSpaaace here, which is also the same kind of feeling of home to it.
Good. Community is very important.
It is very much so. Thank you very much, guys. Very, very much a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Next time, I hope we get to shake hands and maybe get a hug.
I would love that. I'm accepting of hugs. It's been a long time since I've hugged anyone, and I really need one right now.
You'll get one for Christmas.
Hugging you.
Excellent. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hugh. All right, and now, Walt, while you queue up the next video question, we are going to go to a text question. Kira, assuming we have one, do we have a text question?
Yes, we do. We actually have a couple coming in. First, there's lots of praise for your Shakespeare rhetoric classes that are going on virtually.
They're awesome. They're really good.
But we have a question here from Sue Buzzard for Armin. How much input did you have in Quark's character and Ferengi culture in general?
That's a two-part question. Let me answer the second part first. I had no input whatsoever in Ferengi culture. That was all done by the writers and the producers. The producers were the writers for the most part. But as far as what I, as an actor, chose as actions or responses or attitudes towards things, that, of course, was my doing. And the writers at times, when they would watch dailies, would say, you know, we really like that. Let's include that in the Ferengi culture. So to some indirect way, I had some influence. And of course, if I answer this question slightly differently, I understand that all the Ferengi on Next Generation were forced, that's the word, were forced to watch my original Ferengi performance in Last Outpost, and were asked to emulate that sort of behavior. I will tell you, I've been saying it for 25 plus years. I did everything in my power to try to eradicate that performance from people's minds. So people like Max would come up to me and say, well, this is what you did in the episode. And I said, forget that. Forget everything I did in that episode. Let's just start from scratch.
You know what, though? To be fair, Armin, it wasn't you. It was the costume and that whip. Those had to go in order for the species to make any sense.
Yes, and they went immediately, but I'm not backing away from the blame and the shame. A lot of that was my performance, and the director, but it was primarily my performance, and I would do anything to eradicate that performance. Yeah, understand. I was told this once. I couldn't believe it. The Ferengi, the way they were talked about before I showed up, and the other 3 or 4 actors who played Ferengi on that episode, we were supposed to be the new Klingons. We were supposed to put the fear of God into you. We were supposed to. Starfleet was supposed to be terrified of the Ferengi. You can see how well that worked.
But later on, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Ferengi reaction to being attacked, and I think we all know what happens when a Ferengi is attacked. There's a that happens, was originally you were doing, and didn't the rest of the Ferengi actors kind of follow suit from there?
Right. As I said earlier, it was my response to things that was my input. That certainly wasn't in the script. But I decided that's the way I was going to react. And Max and Aaron were not averse to doing that as well. I think maybe Jeff had a problem with him. But,
well, I will say that I think all your work to refine the character really paid off in the end, because after a lot of consideration and a lot of rewatches, Quark is now my favorite character of all Star Trek.
You're very kind. Thank you.
There's such subtlety to the performance, and he's such a nuanced and deep character, despite, like, on the surface what he may seem, 9 times out of 10. And yeah, I'm very sold. Like, I'll always love the Starfleet officers that are paragons of their, for respective skills. But yeah, Quark is, I think, just so much more human and identifiable in so many ways. And
thank you for that. That's what I've always said, that Quark was the most human of the characters on Star Trek.
Most definitely, yeah, and showed. What I love is really emulated the concept of courage. He is not devoid of fear, but in times when it really counts, he will overcome it to do the right thing.
Right.
And that is human nature. We have a gene for fear. We respect it a lot of the times, but when the rubber hits the road and it's meaningful and we have to do something, humans are known to make self-sacrifices, and that's one of the glories of our species.
Yes, and I can tell you guys that Rich is not just saying that because you're here with us now. It was one of the original conversations we had when we first met. When we met, and obviously he came to a GaaaysInSpaaace event, so immediately connection. But as we started dating, we obviously talked about Star Trek, and one day he began a conversation with, you know what? I really think Quark is my favorite character ever. And I was like, really? So it is all true. It is not blowing smoke.
Thank you. Thank you. I was blessed with great writing. I was blessed with great actors to work with, and they were blessed with me.
Love it. Okay, Walt, do we have another question ready to go?
Yes, we do. This one is going to be with Jenna Monaghan. Let me get Jenna's last name here. There you go. Monaghan. It was getting clipped. But so Jenna, you may have to unmute your screen. I believe that you got a pop-up that just said that you can talk.
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
I did.
Excellent.
And Monaghan's right. I know the G trips people up.
It certainly is. It's a good Irish name.
But hello everyone.
Hello, Jenna.
Hi.
Jenna, can you activate your video?
I don't know why it's not showing me. Hold on.
Oh, so here, okay. If you let me just
it never brought up.
allow you to upload or to promote your video. So try and do your video now if you want to. Jenna, no?
I'm going to make a suggestion. I'm way out of line for making this suggestion. You mentioned earlier the lectures I've given about rhetoric. In those classes, we've had anywhere from 80 to 100 people visiting. We put them all on video. People were very kind about being quiet until they needed to ask something. You might want to do that so you don't have to go through this.
It says I cannot start video because the host has stopped it.
Well,
Okay, so try it now. Again. There you go. Okay.
Ah, there
Hello,
she
Jenna.
is. Hi, Jenna.
Hello.
You're back.
Back at me.
You have a halo, Jenna. That's probably appropriate.
It's just, light going down, then I've got another lamp. I don't know. I thought I might not be in the dark tonight. But yes, Armin, the question's for you, because besides being a big Trekkie, I'm also a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. So I just
Jenna, will you do me a favor?
Yes.
Maybe it's our volume. Can you speak a little bit louder? I'm an old man, and though I have large ears, I don't hear as well as I used to.
I was just saying, Armin, that besides being a big Trekkie, I'm also a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan.
Uh-huh.
So I was just wondering if you had any fun stories about your time on Buffy.
I had a lot of fun on Buffy, a lot of fun. Let's see, to pick one out, I think perhaps after I did Band Candy, after that episode was over, I didn't work on the show, I think, for about 2 or 3 episodes. I'm not quite sure. But when I came back to the set, I remember Sarah and Allison specifically doing all these impressions of me from Band Candy. And they were hilarious. I didn't realize I had been that funny. But it is
Foxy ladies here tonight.
there are some foxy ladies here tonight. But that was great. I will tell you a story, if you don't mind. It'll take a little bit of time, but this is one of my favorite memories, although it doesn't have to do primarily with my shooting of the episodes. At the end of their run, their office called me up and said, "Oh, it's our last episode. It's the last day of the episode in about 2 days. Will you come down to the set and say goodbye to the cast and the crew?" And I said, "I'll be delighted." And I assumed after that phone call that because there were hundreds of recurring characters on Buffy, that there would be that many people in the room waiting to say goodbye, that it would be a huge, huge picture and a great reunion. So the day that I was asked to come, I came, and there were 4 of us in the room. Myself, Christine Sutherland, I don't remember the gentleman's name, one of the 3 baddies at the very end, the 3 sort of nerdy guys. And the 4th person was not an actor, but the director of photography who had been there when I worked, and I've forgotten his name too, terrible of me to say that. Anyway, I went in, I said goodbye, I shook hands, some tears went around, and as I was walking back to my car, I was walking back with Joss Whedon, and I said to Joss, sort of what I just told you, and I said, "Why was it just us 4? What was special about us 4? And Joss's quote stays with me today, even today, which was, "You 4 are the only 4 that all of us liked." And considering who Snyder was, that's a huge compliment.
Great.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Jenna. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Jenna. Keep the halo.
I'll try.
Keep the halo, yes. Excellent. Okay, Walt, you can queue up the next video question. And in the meantime, Kira, do we have a text question?
We do. We've got some coming in. This one I thought was interesting. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but there was a little shout out to Quark's bar in Star Trek Picard.
I didn't see it.
Did you guys have any say in that?
Oh, God, no. No, not so. And really, rather not insulting. Now, I say that, but you have to understand, I have known Jonathan Frakes much longer than I've known Kitty.
It's true. And we've been married for 39 years.
Jonathan and I were children together in a theater company in New York. Jonathan is one of my oldest friends. So I was a little put out when I saw that episode, saw that Jonathan had directed it, and he never mentioned to me ever that there had been a shout out to Quark.
That's crazy.
And I've hired his daughter. Come on.
Yeah. that was were you kind of I don't want to say surprised, because you shouldn't be, because Quark was such, you know, an important character, but the fact that of the handful or so of established characters in Star Trek lore, Quark was one that was included in Picard, even though it was just a reference in the background.
I was indeed surprised, flattered, of the hundreds, if not thousands, of characters and creatures and species on Star Trek. To be acknowledged that way was enormous tribute to my character.
I think a lot of people assume that Quark somehow had it in his contract that you will at least mention me if it comes back. That's just
you know, I never thought about that when I was negotiating my contract, but if I ever get the opportunity again, that will be there.
I'm going to tell you a secret. Quark is a much better negotiator than ARMIN is.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, Quark is a much better negotiator than I am. I am a very poor negotiator, but Quark's very good. And I learned a lot from Quark, but in that respect, not enough.
Well, actually, you know what? This, Walt, as you're queuing up the next question, Rich, can you pull up the first photo? I'd like to show you guys this photo. And Kitty, I'd like to ask you first, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you see this photo?
That as a woman, he makes a very handsome man. He's no Jackie Cox. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my God, that's genius.
I mean, you know, there's people that were born to cross-dress, and my husband is not a drag performer, I just got to say. But he was so cute when he was getting chased around by, oh God, what's his name?
Henry Gibson.
They were so sweet together. Wasn't that the sweetest?
Oh my God. It was, you know, that episode, I think, means a lot more in hindsight now than it did at the time. And the fact that I know you all pushed for that episode to not be a comical episode. You know, this was Sid's first, I think, and only directing.
No, he directed another one. He directed another one.
He's directed another thing.
Yeah.
But that you all, in the way that you always did, which is one of the reasons, one of the many reasons why we love you so much, you all understood that there was, our community existed. We were out there, and whether or not the studio wanted to acknowledge that you were talking to us, you were. And from what I understand, you guys really wanted that to be an episode that was not for the laugh, that it was for the, I don't want to say message, but for the sentiment and the feeling.
They made you reshoot a scene, didn't they?
No, that was a different, that's the other episode that Sid directed. Yes. I, for one, being somewhat of a dramaturge, of an English major, I tend to look for the deeper meanings in things. And perhaps that's why Quark is appreciated by so many, and the character stands up, because there's one thing, they're wonderful writers, and their intentions are, of course, terrific. But they have a whole script to develop in a very short period of time, whereas I'm only limited to looking at my character and thinking about what I and my character would do. But I was always interested in the deeper qualities of the episodes that I did. And I certainly felt that way about this one as well. I'll point out to you, if people don't know this, that the first lesbian kiss on TV, I believe, was on our episode. Mm-hmm. So we were aware of that, of this community you're talking about, Dick, Dan, and we did not want to make fun. We wanted to talk about social issues. That's what Star Trek's always been about. And we didn't want to back away from that at all.
And I think also, not only there is that issue to talk about in that episode, but it's also an episode about the Me Too movement that I'd like to go back and watch that episode in hindsight. And Me Too does not have to be a man and a woman, a man having control of a woman. It could be any configuration. And they had a real opportunity to talk about Henry's character assaulting Armin's character.
And speaking of Me Too, on the lighter side, when I was dressed up like that, and you can see I was rather bosomy, I don't think 5 minutes went by during all the days that I shot that some member of the crew didn't come up and feel me up.
Can't blame them. Can't blame them. You know, not gonna lie, did it to the screen.
So I had a deeper understanding of the Me Too movement after that episode. And wearing heels. That also taught me something. On grates, heels on grates.
Yeah, not good. Do you, so I just got a text message I would guess that a lot of the women in the group know who Liz Spaaace is. Is that true?
I don't know. Possibly.
Nikki and Nora. She just sent me a text saying,
Okay.
how you doing? I said, I'm doing GaaaysInSpaaace. I'll call you back.
You know, just being able to say the name kind of says it all. You know, Gaaays, sure, of course that's what they're doing right now. Yeah. I have one more photo to show you. And this is very much on the lighter side. Rich, Armin, let's start with you, sir. What is your first thought when you see this photo?
Disappointment. That's my first feeling. Whenever I see that photo, it's disappointment. Here's why. That was one of the great episodes of all time, not just on Star Trek, but on TV. What our technicians did, what our writers did, in order to embed the characters of our show into the episode that was shot, 30 years before. That was a huge undertaking. And my contribution to that incredible episode is this picture right here. And I probably was shooting Buffy all that week, but it is great disappointment that that's all I had. When I listened and listened to the stories that the other actors told about having to go back literally in time to accommodate being put into that old episode, I feel jealous that I didn't get that opportunity.
But you got to do Far Beyond the Stars, which was equally important in a
It
different way.
wasn't equally important, but this episode was a technological marvel.
And you know, on the upside, at the end of the day, though, you have the second most indelible image of being, you know, ensconced in tribbles, second only to Bill Shatner when they fell out of the thing. You ask people, people have this framed photo right here, this exact moment. People know that. They can immediately go to it. It is, you know, of course, Quark couldn't do really much in that episode, but somehow, man, somehow you did this, and this is what sticks in people's brains. I think that's amazing.
Is that why you picked Tribbles as your
mascot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny. The whole rainbow tribble thing was an accident. It came from the fact that a friend of mine came to Vegas one year to help us with stuff, and he did not know Star Trek at all. But you know, on the dealer's floor in Vegas, there's generally some big tribble display. And we were walking past one of them, and he got very excited and pleased with himself that he was like, oh, that's those Trixies, the Trixies. And I was like, oh man, so close, but you made it so gay that we might have to do something with this.
Do you know what Armin's nickname for me is?
What?
Trixie.
Amazing. Amazing. For different reasons, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming they're for different.
I think it's my stripper name. I'm sorry. Did I say that?
I'm sorry. Right now, all my friends are wondering. I was like, oh, I'm here with, you know, Kitty Swink and Armin from Deep Space Nine. Everyone's like, oh, from Buffy?
You know, I
The
did
priority.
both shows at the same time. I'm equally fond of them.
Excellent. Okay, Walt, I think we are now finally ready for that next video question.
Sounds good. Okay, so Morgan Binnix, you should be able to talk. Maybe you might see a pop-up to unmute yourself and start your video.
Yep, I should be unmuted. I don't see the option to do a video.
Okay, so let me see. I don't see an option here to allow you to show video on this time for some reason. But, okay, well, I will answer your question as you're talking. I'll try and start your video somehow.
Okay, that's fine. Well, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for having me here.
How do you do, Morgan?
Hi, Morgan.
Oh, and we just
Hold on, wait, Morgan, come back. I didn't push anything, so I'm not sure what happened there.
It was probably Rich's mouse, because that mouse is Butterfinger here.
Wow.
So that's probably.
Okay, here, so Morgan, all right, she's back.
Sorry,
So,
Morgan, that was my mistake.
Morgan, sorry about that.
Am I back?
Yes.
Okay, that's very odd. My video kept coming.
There you
are. Okay.
I'm sorry about that. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good to see all of you. So I was just curious. Thanks, first of all, for joining us, you guys. I was just curious, Kitty and Armin, you guys strike me as the type of people who, in this situation, which is definitely tragic for all of us, but you definitely seem like the type of people who would take advantage of this opportunity as much as possible. So I'm just curious, what have you guys been doing to help find joy through this situation? And you know, have you guys, you seem like, you know, did you take up a new hobby or read any great books, or just what have you been doing to find the joy through this difficult time?
Kitty, do you want to answer that? I certainly can, but go ahead.
Well, we can both do it. You go first.
Okay,
We'll take
so
turns.
I have been reading a great book. Actually, it's what I've been writing. It's the book that I'm writing.
And rewriting and rewriting.
I sold a book last Christmas that turned out to be a series of books. My book was already written. The other two books were already written too. So they bought it, and we found out it was too long for one book. It was more appropriate to be 3 books. And so I've been, during this period of time, I have been taking advantage of not having any appointments in order to sit by my computer and write and write and write and write some more. And when I'm not writing, as is mentioned earlier, I've been teaching lecture classes on rhetoric, which is one of my favorite things to do. So there's that. I've also been doing a ton of gardening, mostly weeding, and reminding myself over and over how much I adore the lady I live with.
Oh, I guess. Thank you. I'm trying to, he's the best. I'm trying to run a theater from my office, which is a little weird to be an artistic director, but we have a lot of stuff going on with the theater, online classes and company class online where we're working together and figuring out what we know what our next season is. So we've been one person at a time announcing it to our board members and our biggest supporters, and we'll do a general announcement. So that takes a huge amount of time. I've been coaching a lot of people online because everybody's doing video auditions now. I've been participating in a playwrights lab where I read new works every Tuesday night, and I've been baking an inordinate amount of bread and ginger snaps.
Thank God.
Like every time we run out of ginger snaps, Armin's like, tic-tac, baby. We need some more ginger snaps. So we do that. And we're trying really hard to take a lot of socially distanced walks with our friends. It's not New York City, so it's easier. And I'm trying to explore neighborhoods that have a lot of hills with my friends with masks and get a lot of walking in. I'm averaging about 7 miles a day.
She's a
That
star.
sounds so fulfilling. Like, I am very impressed that you guys have managed to still fill your days with things so constructive and rewarding, and I'm in awe of that. Armin, can you tell us a little more about your book?
Let's be in awe too, Morgan. What have you been doing
Exactly.
to fill your days?
Oh, well, I'm about to go back to work soon. I work for the public library, and we've been closed since March, but we're about to start curbside pickup and all that and slowly reopen to the public.
That's
so
fantastic.
I'm gearing up for that. I go back June 1st. Other than that, I've been nothing as productive. Reading Star Trek books, watching the Star Wars movies, watching Marvel movie marathons.
Great.
But I've been crossing a lot off my checklists of books I've been meaning to read and movies I've been meaning to watch. And I'd love to add, Armin, I'd love to add your upcoming book to my to-read list. I'm curious, could you tell us more about it?
My first book, supposedly, this first book should come out somewhere around September, October. But if you're really bored to tears, I do have other books that I've published that are already out. So if you want to find the Merchant Prince series that has my name on it, which I wrote, as opposed to one book, which you probably do have, which I didn't write, but it has my name on it.
You broke the story.
I broke the story, yes. But I have a question before we lose you, Morgan. Sure. What do you have to do to go back to the library? What are the safety precautions that you as a librarian have to take?
Yeah, so we most of those decisions are made kind of above my pay grade. We have countywide people, but I know, of course, we'll all be wearing masks and I'll be given gloves and other PPE to help stay protected. We're installing plexiglass shields around the desks. We are doing curbside pickup so that patrons can place books on hold, and we will put them on a table and they will come and pick them up so that we have contactless checkouts. We will be, as materials get returned, we will be quarantining them for a few days, and so we therefore we don't have any public programs or meeting room spaces or anything like that, because we'll be using that to quarantine and sanitize materials. Hopefully eventually, sooner rather than later, we hope we'll get to open at least and have a limited number of patrons and have at least some of things like our computers and Wi-Fi available for people that don't have that from home. So that's definitely our priority, is giving people access to as many resources as they can, still safely. And then fun things like programming and stuff, which is a bummer because that's my favorite part of the job. You know, story times and fun events is what I get to do, but that's canceled at least until the fall, which is understandable. But so when we're making sure that we absolutely will not be opening our doors until it's absolutely safe, and definitely in a very limited capacity for at least the foreseeable future, which sucks, but we gotta do what we gotta do.
You know, Morgan, one thing that you can do, I think this is a suggestion you could make, is that the books, as they come back, you could just put them on the G train for a subway ride in Tron Town, and that'll disinfect them like that. Just saying.
I will pass that along to my bosses. We'll see what we can do about that.
Hey, Morgan, Armin and I are both literacy advocates, and I'm really thrilled you're doing this. And I'm sorry you don't get to do story time, because there's nothing better for kids than to be read to. I know it makes a huge difference. But have you guys, I used to be part of we both did things, the Screen Actors Guild Foundation had something called Book Pals, where we would go into libraries and speak to and read stories, but we would also, for kids who were shut in, we would do audio recordings, and maybe the library could have audio story time if you could arrange that, and I would be happy to tweet about it for you.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you so much for your support for that. I do love that idea. We do have a lot of online resources that include like books being read out loud and things like that. We have those available for checkout. And one thing we have been doing that I've done a few times and I really enjoy, we have been hosting story times on our Facebook Live, on our Facebook page as Facebook Live. So it's fun to see the comments come in, you know, their parents comment, oh, such and so is watching, and we see that comment and we get to say hi. So that's definitely nowhere near as close to the joy of doing it in person, but it's still I'll take what I can get, and I have loved being able to do a few Facebook story times.
Wonderful.
So, and thank you very much for your support. I'll definitely keep you guys in mind, and
Thank
I
you,
look
Morgan.
forward to maybe networking with you later down the line. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Morgan. Walt, I have a question. If you can go through your list of who's in the room, if Mike Diamond is there, let's bring him in. If Erin Dominguez is in the room, let's bring her in next. And in the meantime, Kira, do we have another text question?
Yeah, all right. So this one's from our friend Adam Yind. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on Avery Brooks as a director, especially when his episodes really hit home for a lot of people?
Avery Brooks was an exceptional director and very passionate about directing. When we shot Star Trek, for the most part, those of us who were series regulars rarely got direction from directors. There's a long story for why that's true. It has to do with TV politics and other things. But Avery, when he directed, he came alive. Anyone who has met Mr. Brooks, we all called him Mr. Brooks. But anyone who has met Mr. Brooks knows how special he is. But when he was a director, he was exceptional. He was 1,000% behind making the best product he could possibly make. And he gave us tons of direction to make the episode as good as it could possibly be. And as Kitty referred to earlier, the proudest episode that I'm of the shows that we did, and we did a lot of wonderful episodes, but certainly Far Beyond the Stars, the episode that he directed, that he mastered, that he helmed, was exceptional.
And he started.
He started.
Really was
And
the
gave. I was standing as close to him as I am to the computer right now, and this performance they gave for one particular speech, thank God I wasn't on camera, because I was in tears, flabbergasted what I saw right in front of me.
Yeah, that was such, I remember hearing Nana describe that moment as him being very much in a flow state where he wasn't coming out of it, as she tells it, they said cut, and he was still Benny Russell. He did not come back to Avery.
That's right. That's quite right. And extraordinarily enough, I don't know if Nana told you this or not, but because of technicalities, they said you have to do it again. I don't know which of the two takes they used, but he had to do a second take, and he was just as good the second time, having just given his all for the first take. I don't know where he dredged up all that wonderfulness for the second take, but he did.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely incredible. Walt, have we found any of our video questions?
Okay, so there is no Aaron. There's no Aaron Dominguez. There's no Mike Diamond. I've also searched for Vincent and can't find them. However, I was able to find Kaylee. So if you want me to bring Kaylee up, I can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Kaylee is one of the founders of Science Division LLC. Our, I guess kind of our sponsor for tonight. They'll be giving away a free app-controlled Tribble to one of our viewers. Kaylee, how are you?
Hi.
Hello, Kaylee.
Hey, Kaylee.
Hey, we're doing great. Jay and I are actually lighting designers for theater. So hearing you guys talk about theater all night has been so powerful and so emotional. Jay teaches it to high school students, so he's doing all of that online. I am very much at home with no work, so all of that just really hits home.
Where do you guys live?
We're outside of Boston. We're in central Massachusetts. So I was commuting into the city and kind of freelancing. And
Are you anywhere near Lowell?
So we're about 40 minutes away. My uncle lives in Lowell, so we're
Because a dear friend of ours was the artistic director of the theater in Lowell.
Merrimack Rep.
Merrimack
We
Rep.
worked there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so this has been honestly more of an emotional night than I expected it to be, because of just like seeing the video about theater and hearing you guys talk about it. Just kind of really hit home. And so my question.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just curious, as a lighting designer, I've heard a lot about Deep Space Nine and the lighting being very much installed in the set, and it being this kind of really interesting take on lighting because there didn't have to be this huge rig for filming and all of that. And I was curious if that impacted any, like for you as an actor, how that was different for you, or maybe it wasn't, maybe that doesn't really factor into what you're doing. I'm just kind of fascinated by that concept of this set embedded kind of lighting situation.
Right. That's a two-part question. The first part will be the disappointing part. It didn't affect me in the least. I knew the lights were on. I knew that they would probably light me. If I stood on the mark, I probably was in the light. So I didn't think about that too much. Not really. I apologize for not that I don't appreciate lighting. I do. I certainly appreciate it on the stage a great deal. A great deal. But you're right. Our set, the designers of our sets that were permanent, the promenade, for instance, or ops,
or Quark's bar.
Well, it's the promenade. They were all designed because they had learned from their mistakes from Next Generation, from the Enterprise set, from the and so the lighting, the levels of the floors were all set up so that it would be easier for the technicians to do their work and for the cameras to have different plateaus, that's probably the wrong word, plateaus or levels, in order so that there could be different looks for the camera and not just a ramp going up and down. But the lighting was part and parcel of the design of the sets. But as far as how it affected me, really, usually an actor can feel the light on their skin so they know if they're in the light or not. But you can understand, I couldn't. So that was out of the question.
Absolutely. Well, and I do a lot of lighting design for dance, and it's funny because I'll do the lighting design and I'll walk on the stage to talk to a choreographer, and I'm just looking around and I'm like, how do you guys put up with this? You know, because it's really one thing to be on one side of it and looking at all of the light, but it's really another to do what you guys do and be in all of that.
Right. I mean, as a performer on TV, it was, forgive me, important but negligible to me. As a performer on stage, and as a director on stage, and as a producer on stage, lighting is astounding. I'm going to brag about our lighting technician, lighting designer we had for Measure. We had some visual effects that were breathtaking.
Gorgeous.
And helped my telling of the story of Measure.
Well, I have to say, so Jay and I saw you speak for the first time we were at Mission New York, and they did the kind of the Deep Space Nine reunion, and it was so wonderful. I think it was you and Renee who both talked about kind of your theater background and really approaching acting from a dramaturgical point of view, and we were just like, these are our people, and it was so wonderful to hear that the characters we loved so much on the show that we loved so much, you know, cared so much about what they were doing, and it related to what we were doing. And, you know, I've always wanted to tell you that. So.
Thank you, Kaylee. It is no surprise that most of the main characters on Star Trek, whether it's our show or any of the shows, almost all of us are theater actors. All of us come from the theater. And I believe there's a reason for that. I can't explain to you what that reason is, but I'm sure there's some affinity, that makes those actors shine from when they audition for that kind of work.
It's the language. I think the language is hard. It's so well written that if you don't say it well, the audience doesn't con on to it. They can't hear it. But if you have Patrick Stewart or Renee Auberjonois or Avery Brooks, you can understand
Kate
it.
Mulgrew.
I mean, all the shows.
ARMIN Shimmerman, you know, I hear that guy's pretty good.
He's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's telling.
Get around the teeth. If he can get around the teeth, he's okay.
Yeah, I mean, even Robbie McNeil, who's a director now and a really good one, came from the theater. He was in the original Broadway cast of 6 Degrees of Separation, and he went to Juilliard.
And He-Man, Masters of the Universe. So
yeah.
Right, that's
There's that.
Well, I think it's a storytelling thing too. Star Trek has important stories to tell, and theater has always been about telling important stories. And I think that's why, even as a kid, I didn't know I was destined for theater, but like what I really latched onto with Star Trek was like, yes, it was fun, but it was also important. And I think theater is that way too. And so it just feels really right that Star Trek has such a theater kind of pedigree to it, and that everyone comes from theater.
Theater and Star Trek do the same thing. They attach us to humanity in a way that's really important and allow us to be open-minded. I wish more people right now in the world could open their minds, but you know.
And you know what's really interesting about that, Kitty, is that the same thing happens with Star Trek fans. Star Trek fans are people who want to make the world a better place, who want to embrace our truest humanity, which is by far not our basest humanity. And people like Kaylee, they sit in quarantine thinking, how can I help somebody? And one of the ways, aside from the adorable tribbles, which technically I know I can't win, I will purchase one soon. But Kaylee, you guys are organizing something else that I really want to give. I just want to give you the floor and talk about it because I think it's such a great idea. And again, right now, something that is needed. So please tell us.
Yeah, so we are among, other vendors or whatever that we're kind of counting on conventions and stuff like that for what we're doing. But the bigger thing that was really disappointing to us when the conventions got shut down is, Jay and I went to Star Trek Las Vegas for the first time ever last year. And we went as, we were pre-selling this crazy tribble that we'd built from scratch in our living room and somehow got licensed by CBS. But just the thing that really struck us was how immediately we were accepted by people who had been going for years and years and years. And they were just like, yes, you're part of the community. Great, here, welcome, here we all are. And those people became our friends. And we're desperately disappointed to, not have the opportunity to see those people. And all along, this project with our small business has been like a passion project. And we come back from the conventions and we're like, this is why we did this, because we make friends and we see people that we would never have seen otherwise. And you don't have to explain who you are or why you're there. You're there. And that's missing right now. It's not just talking to the stars, which is awesome. We love talking to the stars, obviously, but it's also that there's a community that happens in the vendor room. People are in costume, people are walking up to tables, they're talking about why they got into Star Trek, and that's not there. So we tried to figure out what can we do about that. So we're hosting an online convention. It's going to be on June 14th from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're calling it the Connected Community Con. And basically you can go onto our website. If you go to sciencediv.com, there is a page in our navigation, a link in our navigation that will take you to the landing page. The idea is to make it quick, easy, fun, and inexpensive for everybody to participate and to attend. So we're hosting it on a website we already have. We're going to post pictures and bios of anyone who is an artist, who's a podcaster, who is a small business owner, anyone who would have been somebody who had a table in the vendor's room. And we're asking them to send us some photos of what they do, some bios, and information about what they do, and then a link to either Zoom or a Zoom meeting or a Skype meeting, whatever they're comfortable with. So you can go read about each person, see a link to their website, but also then click, and when you click the link into their meeting, it's going to be like walking up to their table. And the idea is to just talk to people the way we used to just walk up and talk to people. So that's kind of the project that we have going on right now.
Congratulations.
We wanted to feel connected and, like a community event again. And something that, we did a live event a few weeks ago, and it felt really good to just like talk to people. Yeah. And so we decided to try to make something so that,
Bravo.
who wants to be involved can be. So
yeah.
Community is very important. And bravo to the two of you for taking the work on and making people happy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
And, you know, only in the Star Trek fandom would you hear of something like this that is not about making money. It is not about, well, people can't sell their stuff, so we have to give them away. No, like the idea comes from the fact that, yes, people vend. That's what vendors do. But we miss each other. We want to interact with each other. Any type of, like, if you'd like to buy something, that's great. That's ancillary to what these guys put together. And again, I just think it is such a testament to who we are as a community, that something like that comes from us. I just, bravo, guys.
I think it's fantastic. One of the things that, Bill Brocktrip and I, he's my co-artistic director, once a week we go on Zoom, and anybody in the company can join us on Zoom. And sometimes we talk about what bread we're baking, and sometimes we talk about how scared we are because somebody we know just got sick with COVID-19. And sometimes we talk about how much we miss being in a room together. And I think that's exactly the thing that you guys have done. I love it. I think it's fantastic that you're doing that.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you. We're really looking forward to it, and to just seeing people. You know, we have somebody who's agreed to host a cosplay table where people can come in costume and just talk about how they made their costumes, because everyone has such wonderful costumes that they've made that they don't get to haul out. So we're just really excited, and we invite anybody who's watching who has something that they do to go check out our website. If you go to sciencediv.com, there is a link there to the Connected Con. Please sign up. Please come and share your story with us, because we want to get to know all of you guys.
Awesome. And again, Kaylee, thank you guys so much for being so generous to donate a free Tribble to one lucky attendee tonight. You're watching right now. You're watching right now, and you don't realize you're the winner, but you'll find out at the end, and you're going to be very happy about that. But just on one final note, I have to ask, Kayla, is that just what you wear around the house normally? Is that?
No, you know, it's so funny. This showed up a couple of days ago in the mail. So I've never had any kind of Star Trek cosplay outfit ever. And part of it was because I've never felt comfortable in what the women on Star Trek generally wear. But
The women on Star Trek.
But I love, so TOS is I grew up on TOS. My dad, we watched every episode on VHS tape with my dad. We had an Enterprise bridge recreation in our backyard that was in a playhouse, and aliens would beam in through a trapdoor in the ceiling and chase us around. There was no hope for me. I was always going to be a nerd. But TOS was also like, it was my master class in how you treat people. I just remember watching Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, and my dad being like, isn't it crazy how people treat each other differently because of the colors of their skin? And we're like, yeah, that's insane. And he was like, well, people did that. And that was this aha moment for me. And I have never looked back. It has always been everything in Star Trek is, you know, there's a lesson there, and there's something that's important. And then I think that's part of why I went into theater. It was just because the storytelling was important. But TOS outfits for women are not ever something that I'm going to be comfortable in, but I love that number one on Discovery. I love, first of all, that Pike and number one and all of those characters are getting to be their own characters in a way that, you know, is really wonderful. But I love the character of number one on Discovery, and that it's a strong female character, and that she gets to wear pants. And so, you know, we found this outfit while I was home stuck in quarantine with nothing better to do than to look at stuff on the internet. And
Well, it was absolutely totally worth it. I love it. Absolutely love it. You look amazing. And again, thank you guys so much for what you're doing. And yeah, everybody who's watching, like, go to the website, check out what they're doing, join us. What was the date again?
June 14th, so it's a Sunday. It'll be from 3 to 6 Eastern time.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you guys again so much.
Dan.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, Walt, cue up the next person. Kira, do we have another text question?
Sure do. So this is a little bit of a two-parter. The first part is favorite Shakespeare play, and the second part is which Shakespeare play do you think Quark or Kitty, your guest star roles would most take root?
I feel like Luaran is way more Shakespearean than the Bajoran minister. That's just my guess. That's my guess.
She's a more interesting Shakespearean character, yeah. What's your favorite play?
Usually the one I'm doing, and since I'm not doing one right this moment, I don't have a favorite. I don't know, actually. It would be hard-pressed for me to say that. It really is the one I'm usually doing. So the one I just did, or directed anyway, was Measure for Measure. So I'm still sort of in love with that one. But some are better than others. That's certainly true. But I don't have a favorite. You know, I suppose it's like children. You can't say that one child is your favorite over another child. And as far as what my character might like, I would probably, if I were Quark, and I was at one time, I would say that Quark's favorite character would be Macbeth. And here's the reason why.
Interesting.
Throughout the centuries, Macbeth was the play that usually sold out the best to audiences. Macbeth was the one producers kept in their back pocket. If they needed to make money really quickly, we'll do Macbeth, we'll sell out tickets for Macbeth. So, that in mind, you can see why Quark might enjoy or prefer Macbeth. It's also the shortest play, shortest play that Shakespeare wrote.
It moves like a house on fire, except some productions. My favorite, so I like the comedies for me. I mean, not necessarily to watch them, but to play them, I like the comedies better because he wrote better parts for women in the comedies. They were fuller. They're not so much at the mercy of the men. They have their own agency more often. They have more lines more often. And of the comedies, I would say Much Ado About Nothing. I think you have somebody in the room who saw us do a reading of Much Ado About Nothing. So Karen Chill is here. And so I'd say that's my favorite play. And I would say Luaran is probably most drawn to Iago because she's sort of smiley and obsequious and really, really dangerous. So that's
a very memorable Borda. I thought, very, very soft-spoken and kind of contemptuous, about people beneath third station, definitely came through.
Ron Moore said to me after we shot it, he said, we never could find a woman Borda that we wanted to have keep coming back. And here we are 6 episodes before the end. And you nailed it. And it was because I went to school on Jeff Combs. I told you.
I'm going to brag about my wife. Kitty, as you know, did 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine. And I will point out to everyone that many of the actors on all of the Star Trek shows have spouses that are actors. But Kitty is the only one to break the spouse barrier.
Up to Deep Space Nine, after that it was different, I think.
Okay. Yeah. But up until that time, she was the only one to break the spouse barrier, which means that we actually got a spouse to work on the show. Except for Nana and Sid, who became spouses while they were working the show.
Yeah.
But you know what, Kitty, you're right. With Luaran, the thing that I loved about that performance was that we've always seen the Vorta, like Jeff Combs, so not only showing complete and utter deference to the founders, but loving the fact that they were doing that. Luaran seemed so pissed that she had to be like, I didn't know you were in the sector. Like it was such a, I shouldn't have to worship you because I'm me and I don't need to kowtow to you. I loved that subtle, just right under the surface there.
Well, thank you. I don't know if I did that, but thank you. Thanks. But still obsequious because she's just a little creepy, Yeah.
And again, Iago, the original Vorta. I love that.
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. Walt, do we have our next question? And you guys, if you guys, whenever you guys have to run, just let us know. As long as you're cool with hanging, we will absolutely keep chatting. But
we will hang. We will hang.
We will hang until I have to eat, because then I turn evil bitch.
We love you guys so much. Okay, Walt, who do we have next?
All right, so Dan, we're actually maxed out on all the people. However, if I do see Diamond or some of the other questionnaires coming in, then I will let you know as soon as possible.
I see some people. Hold up.
We have some. Yeah, we have some more raised hands. Just
yeah. Anyone with a raised hand right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With the approved stars.
Yeah. Okay. So here, let's talk to Sean Rusnak. Here, let's get Sean up here. Sean, wait, hold on. I'm coming to get you. There. Okay. There. Hold on. There we go, Sean. All right.
Yeah, it just crapped out on me for a second there.
Okay, you're good.
All right. So hello. So first, God, I lost my train of thought.
Was it a train with a laser beam disinfectant by any chance?
No.
Because those are hard to misplace, sir.
No. So actually, no. So first, I have two little things. So first, I just happened to show up today that as a link from a British LGBT magazine posted a link about how 23 years later, Buffy the Vampire Slayer stands out among LGBT youth.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
Well.
And
does
then
it say why? Does it say why?
No, I didn't go through the whole article, but I saw the headline and I thought it was funny how tonight I'd be talking to you.
Absolutely. That show also was very serious about addressing the issues, and there were many LGBT characters, not many, but there were a handful of LGBT characters that were written and were wonderfully performed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my second part was, so I know a couple of years ago you lended your voice talent to Star Trek Online as well as many of the other DS9 actors. And did you ever get to see the finished product?
No.
Okay. So
because I'm not, I'm proud to say I've done many games as a voiceover performer, but I never see them because I don't have any equipment to actually watch that. On occasion, I haven't seen the one you just mentioned, the Star Trek game. On occasion, some of my games are on YouTube. There's a clips or so on YouTube. And occasionally I may go to YouTube if I'm told they're there and see a Bioshock performance or a Nefarious performance or something.
Okay. So one of them is called Quark's Lucky 7. And so, so let me say, Victory is Life was released about 2 years ago as an expansion, and it is the most in-depth storyline. It makes you feel like you're watching a story arc on the show.
Wow.
They did an incredible job with it. And part of that was because for you, because you helped bring Quark to life again to all of us.
Well, thank you. He was a lovely character. I don't say that I miss him, but I do remember on the very last day of shooting of the show, and I was the last shot. I was the last shot of the series. I remember when they were taking the makeup off, when Karen was taking it off. I thought, as I sat in the chair, I knew that I was never going to visit this character again. Although here I have, I thought I'm going to miss him, and occasionally I do, but those are rare occasions. I think after 7 years, I investigated every nook and cranny that could be with the character. The writers gave me every possibility to investigate everything I could, and I don't miss putting on the makeup.
That is absolutely understandable. Yes. Sean, thank you so much for joining us and for your question. Appreciate it. Thanks. Walt, cue up the next person. And as he does that, I just want to share a very quick slideshow that we put together from the Gays in Space event in Los Angeles that you guys joined us for.
Oh my God.
Because it was, yeah, I just want to show everybody what went on, how much fun we all had. It was an event hosted by Jackie Cox, who is now a RuPaul's Drag Race superstar.
She is fabulous on that show.
She is.
Oh, and it was, I just remember that night so fondly for so many reasons. I mean, we were very, very fortunate to have worked with Aaron Eisenberg very often.
He had a great time that night. You couldn't take him away. He was ecstatic. So were we all. But Aaron always was the life of the party, and I remember him just grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah.
It was good company.
And having you guys together on stage was just such a it's oftentimes it's hard for people to actually kind of imagine what the social dynamic was between actors while you guys were filming. But seeing you two together on our tiny little stage in that Hollywood theater space, when especially, and I love the fact that this moment was captured in a still where, Armin, you were speaking most likely about something, quite important and profound, and in the background, you just see Aaron kind of leaning in, making a goofy face. And I just felt like, okay, that moment right there must have been what filming was like on set.
Yeah, it was. Aaron was, he was the life of the party, and he always had fun. He always had fun. For a man and he was always a man, when he started out as Nog, he was working with Sirach, who was probably 14 at the time or less, and Aaron was already in his 30s.
No, he was in his mid-20s.
Mid-20s. But Aaron was always a joy. And for a man who had kidney problems as a child and probably faced death at an early age, he was going to have the best time he possibly could, and he always did.
I'm going to tell a little, Armin was working in Utah and couldn't get back for Aaron's memorial service. I mean, he sent a video, which was nice, but I was sitting next to Jimmy, and they had that special relationship from the Vic Nog thing. And he got really teary a lot during the memorial. And he turned to me at one point and said, nobody lived more fully than Aaron did. Nobody embraced life and tried to grab every second more than he did. And he said, and it should have been me, because I'm old and he was young. I'm crying just thinking about it. They really loved each other, as did Armin and Aaron and Max and everybody, Ira, everybody.
We were all very close. Certainly the Ferengi family was enormously close. We spent a lot of time together, and we commiserated together. We understood each other's problems. We listened to each other's problems. We tried to help with each other's problems. It was a very close community. The entire show was, but the subset of the Ferengi within the show were enormously close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I feel so blessed by the fact that because of the work with GaaaysInSpaaace, I got to know him. And he was exactly the life of the party. And anytime I would say, hey man, can you, the answer was, if I can, I'm there. Yeah. Such an amazingly strong ally to the LGBTQ plus community. And one of the funniest dudes,
it was tough. I remember that evening, I was nowhere near keeping up with him. And it was always hard to keep up. His ability to ad-lib on stage was extraordinary. And he was always outrageously funny. He was a great, great performer, and an enormous wit. And so he would hit you with something from left field. And there are many pictures I know of me being caught on camera going, how did you come up with that? I was always impressed by his mind. Always.
So, babe, can you mute yourself?
Sorry. Wait. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. So my final memory with Aaron, right before he died, this is right after Star Trek Las Vegas last year, and I remember very distinctly him. We all went out to brunch, and a police officer friend was there with us, and Aaron was proceeded to say, let me ask you a question about police brutality, and proceeded to chew out a cop twice his size for 2 hours straight, which entertained me to no end. So that is my one of my more fond memories of him.
He was very good at that. He was funny, and he wasn't afraid to push the envelope a little. Not a lot, but a little, just enough to ingratiate himself with the people he was with.
Right. Yeah.
But I think being as short as he was fearless.
Yes, and you know what's so funny about that is when you think about it, his humor kind of mirrored his stature in that a lot of times, if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't realize that you just missed a hilarious joke, possibly at your expense, and it just came in the background, and it bam, and yeah.
There's an acting expression that he was a master of. He came in under it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you weren't paying attention to him, he could zing you and you wouldn't know you got zinged. Everybody else in the room knew, but you didn't know that. He was very good.
Yeah, and what an incredible feeling that is, because it happened to me. What an incredible feeling that is in a social group where you're kind of walking along. One year we did WonderCon, and Aaron joined us at the GaaaysInSpaaace table and was signing autographs and doing the whole thing. And at the end of that night, we all went to Disney, which was like right across the street, and, just kind of walking through and, having dinner and drinks. And at one point, I swear to God, he made a joke at my expense that I didn't realize had happened literally until 2 minutes later. And I thought, whoa, like totally, that's gifted talent right there.
And a big-hearted man. His heart was larger than his body. Kind, considerate. The stories you're telling about him joining you and other people, he never shirked his time for himself. If he could make other people happy, he went out of his way to do that.
Yeah, and we when it happened, we couldn't get to LA for the memorial, but we couldn't not do anything. So we put together a tribute event here in Manhattan. And I had no idea how I was going to host. I had never tried to do something that was equal parts celebration, and mourning. And when Garrett Wong heard that we were doing it, he flew here on his own dime to be here with me to co-host, because he felt, you know what? No. If this is going to be a tribute to Aaron and you would like me to be there, I want to be there. And I think it turned out to be a really, really beautiful night. And the only reason it is because of how much we loved Aaron, how much he was loved by his fellow actors, by Garrett. You guys know, how often does an actor pay for his own travel to go somewhere? Come on. That's unheard of.
Oh, he does. He for the memorial, Max and Karina flew, got here the night before, stayed with me.
They flew from Austria.
Austria. It was the only time they've ever been apart from Lena. Both of them have ever been apart from their daughter. And then flew back right after the...
That's halfway across the world for them.
Because
Halfway
they
across the
could
world.
not be here, and that's how much Aaron meant to them.
Yeah. And of course, everyone who knows Aaron, or even like people watching social media and stuff, his wife, Melissa Longo, is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful souls that I've ever met, and had the pleasure of calling a friend. And I truly think that if people take the time every now and then, send a quick message to her, thinking of you, really, loved, like, it's just, she deserves as much, because there's so much love still in the world for him, that it's my hope that everybody out there send a little her way every now and then.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's great. She adored him, and he adored her. And when he found her perhaps at a very low point in his life, and she brought him out, and brought back the Aaron that we had all known years before.
It was one of the great romances of this or any other century. It really was.
Oh God. Okay, Walt, you're gonna pull up a question now that's gonna be all sorts of silly, upbeat, and happy. That's what you're gonna do.
Okay, so all the pressure is going to be on Wasim Ahmad, Vault 12. No, here, wait, let me do this. Hold on, Wasim.
Hi, Wasim.
Hello.
Oh, Wasim, are you muted?
Sorry.
There you go.
Hi there. Thanks so much for doing this. This is amazing.
These costumes are amazing. These are so cool. Okay.
It is Saturday night.
You're wearing your formal attire.
Yeah, formal, exactly. So my question was going to be about the reference in Picard, but I'm going to modify the question. This is for both of you. There's a number of Star Trek spin-offs now, and more rumored. I'm sure we'll see a lot more in the next decade. When you get to appear, what species would you like to present as?
It's easy for me to say. Human. Yeah, I'm a little tired of the makeup, so I don't want to go back in. I'd rather be a human. But if they were to say to me, and perhaps they will, no one has said it so far, I can tell you that. But if they said to me, would you mind recreating your character, I would jump at the opportunity.
Nice.
I've always wanted to be a Borg.
A Borg?
I want to be, truthfully, I want to be Alice Krieger. I want to be the Borg Queen, but...
Yeah, she wants to be the queen. There's no doubt about it.
But I'd be happy to do anything, and anytime I get to work with my Star Trek friends, I'm happy to do it, and it's just great. And I do, get to.
Yeah, it is amazing that. After how many years, you guys can probably tell me better, since, where's Kaylee when I need her, since the original show, that we are still creating new programs about Star Trek, new Star Trek programs. That is quite amazing. And it is a tribute to Roddenberry for what he created. It's a tribute to the people in the years after Roddenberry, the Berman years. Yeah. That so much love was created between the franchise and the people who watch it, and vice versa, that people are still inspired to write new stories about that. I've always called it a mythology, about that mythology.
I have to say, when we were first on the Zoom, I talked about the theater, and we talked about the audience and the artists being part of the same family, and I think that's doubly true of Star Trek. We like hanging out with you guys, and you like hanging out with us, and we like hanging out with each other. We had a Zoom call a couple of weeks ago with Judith Aubergenois and the Delanceys and Nana and her husband Matthew, where we all had cocktail hour together. We're just all really close to each other. Well,
and some of that, in a small way, a very small way, but significant way, is thanks to people like yourselves.
Yeah.
Because we're asked to come to foreign cities and to meet lovely people around the world, but they're asking us as a group to do it, or some of us to do it. So we're being constantly asked to have a reunion. And after a while, it's no longer a reunion, it's just what we do. And so we're not allowed to become strangers. We want to stay friends, but we're not allowed to become strangers. So you can either fight it or enjoy it, and we very much enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, and that actually reminds me again of something with Aaron that made me so proud with what we've done with GaaaysInSpaaace. When John Billingsley said to me, he said, you know, Dan, the only reason that I really got to know Aaron was because you invited us both to GaaaysInSpaaace in LA, and it was the first time we met in that type of setting where it wasn't scheduled and you know, like you have to go here, you have to go there, that it was just hanging out.
Yeah. And
he said, you know, from that time on, every time subsequent that I saw him at a convention, I actually got to see, I saw him, like I got, because of the connection that we made at your event. And I was just like, oh, say more things like that. But, you know, like it just, yeah, felt great.
I will tell you I wouldn't call it a dirty little secret, but a secret, certainly. So our show worked at the same time as Next Generation and at the same time as Voyager. The distance between our set and their sets, because they worked on the same sets at different times, or different, excuse me, same sound studios, different sets, but same sound studios, was probably, for anybody, just crossing the street. That's all it was a street, a narrow street between the sound studios. It was rare for any of us to cross the street and go and visit the other shows, mainly because we were busy, mainly because it just really never occurred to us. Some of us did it occasionally, but those were rare occasions. The friendships that have developed between the intercasts is because of the conventions. It's because of the very thing you were just talking about, Dan. We got to know each other because of that, more than the fact that we were working on a show that said Star Trek in the title.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us go, because if so many of us are theater actors, we knew each other before, and that helped bond us. But it is, I mean, the conventions are a blessing that way. They really are, for all of us.
And it's not just the actors bonding with the actors, as everyone has said. You've said, Dan, Kitty has said, other people have said. It is also the actors bonding with the people who watch the show, and absolutely people going to the conventions, bonding with other people going to the conventions. I've often said about conventions, and I mean it in a very nice way. The actors, it's like going to a county fair. The actors and the designers are the prize pigs of the fair. You go to see that 400-pound pig, but it's really more about visiting with your neighbors and your community. That's really much more important. The pig's lovely. Oh yeah, I want to see the pig, but it's really about bonding with your community.
But you're right. It's not a party without the pig. It's not a party without the pig.
Thank God for the pigs.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your question and for joining us.
Thank you so much. Can I just make one more comment
Yeah.
to the GaaaysInSpaaace team? I only discovered you this afternoon, and this is an amazing production. I can't wait to join you in the future. I did actually train as an astronaut when I was very, very young. So I thought this was about that, but this is even better. So thank you.
Oh,
Yep.
It actually is totally about that. The mission of Gaaays in Space is to put Gaaays in space. So you actually came to the exact right place. And I forgot to mention this to everyone in the audience and our panelists. I'm sorry, I actually forgot again to send out the Discord channel. That was supposed to be how our attendees could talk amongst themselves. I completely forgot about it, so my apologies again. It'll definitely be out next week. But for anyone that would like to join us and keep talking with Gaaays in Space and other Gaaays in Space around the world, literally right now, babe, we will send out the Discord link to everyone attending right after this. So thanks again for coming, and yeah, hope you come back.
And thank you guys again for having Kitty and I.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't notice, anytime actual science comes up, Rich's eyes open wider than anything you've ever seen, which is why I know it's like, I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself and turn it's you now, do it. But yes, we actually would like to share with you guys, one of the things that we've tried to do with these virtual celebrations is to incorporate as much of what you would get at an in real life Gaaays in Space celebration as possible. And I'm sure you guys remember one of the things that we always had were show-stopping numbers, you know, original lyrics, Star Trek inspired, but with that little gay, you know, twist to it. So I would really like to show you a performance by one of our very own, Mr. Nathan Bonk, who came up with, I mean, I've already warned him that, he's done it twice now and knocked it out of the park every time. You know what? The second we're allowed to be close to each other, I'm getting you in a studio and we are filming this for real, because that's how good it is. So Rich, let's go ahead and let's play Nathan's newest number. And then once that's finished, we'll bring Nathan in so we can chat real quick.
The MP4 or the edited one?
The MP4.
Hey guys!
Hi.
For those of you who do not know me, I am Nathan. I'm a proud member of Gaaays in Space! This week Dan asked me to write and perform another original song for you. I mean, it's not completely original. The music is definitely something you've heard before. But the lyrics are all brand new. So I hope you like it. Let's see if I can start it correctly. Sick and tired of hearing all these people talk about what's the deal with that track life and when is it gonna fade out? Well, kiss my big fat enterprise, cause what we're doing is not a trend. We got platonic energy, we're gonna bring it till the end. By my ship I fly, all the pips upon my neck. Let you energize, cause it's all about the track. Always feel my life, or what's the reason why? That you engage, can you take your walk up tonight? Do you ever wonder why this fandom gets you high? Build you a new warp drive. Feel it when your IQ starts to rise. And you feel I'm talking stock, cause the track is all you got. Sick, nerdy. Nerdy pop, little dance you can't stop. I know you like this nerdy pop. Now, let me just try to amplify the techie thing that we do. Cause we just love imagining that the future could come true. Humans live in harmony, exploring the distant stars. Replicators, holodecks, and you travel in flying cars. Your skin color or sexual ID is exploration and equality. If you're an alien or an just like a male, then you're not the board, cause then you can go fuck yourself. Do you ever wonder why space travel gets too high? Take 7 to a 9. Feel it when your logic makes you wise. Gotta give the nerds respect. We're the future smartest bet. This must be Trek.
Thank you.
too much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a great time writing it and performing it, and I miss you guys. Love you guys. Can't wait till we stop in the same room again. Watching some Star Trek. Take care.
Yay.
Yeah, great. You should record that. Get that in the studio. Let's see that.
Right? Oh my God, the creativity just blows my mind. Walt, can we bring Nathan in?
Absolutely. So wait, Nathan, let me just try and find you.
Nathan's already in. I moved him in.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I'm here.
The magic of the internet. Okay.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you very much. That was great.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it, guys. It was so much fun to
I tell you
record.
that I've never heard that song before, so it was doubly fun.
Oh, that was totally original. I wrote it all myself. Since you've never heard it.
Very smart. Very smart, Nathan.
No, it was so much fun to record. When Dan asked me to do these, I'm like, what song should I go with? And I kind of start twiddling with one in my head, and then all the lyrics just start coming. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be too much fun. This is it. This is the
Have
one.
you ever met, Nathan, have you ever met Max Grodénchik, the actor who played Rom?
No, I have not.
He does that too. He takes songs and creates new lyrics, and he and I have been singing his songs for 30 years. But he does exactly what you just did, and I know how much creativity that it takes for you to do that. So bravo to you, Nathan.
Yay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. And I will make as many as Dan keeps asking me to make. I'll keep punking them out. So.
Good.
Good. You can become the Randy Rainbow of the Trek universe.
Yes, I'm all about it. Yes. Actually, while I'm here, I do have a question for you guys. First of all, Kitty and both of you apparently Drag Race fans. That's an awesome shout out. I heard the Jackie Cox reference. Who do you think's gonna win? Or who are you rooting for?
Jackie Cox.
Jackie Cox. Okay. I think she was robbed too, so that's fair.
I never disagreed with my wife.
And second, okay, when it comes to all of the makeup and stuff that you had, where's Quark? Do you ever run into people who like are fans of the show but maybe have never seen you out of makeup, and they just like they hear you talking and just kind of stop and they're like, wait.
I've been told that happens, Nathan. I've never experienced where someone had that aha moment as I was talking to them, but people actually have said to me, it's a little hard for me to believe, but I've heard it on 3 or 4 occasions that they saw me walking somewhere and they said, oh, that's Quark, just from the walk.
Oh, wow.
The sound of my voice is slightly different, so I'm not so sure if that's a giveaway. Because the teeth made me sound a little like Humphrey Bogart.
Yes. Did you ever bite your tongue with those? Third question.
You bit my lip with them.
It is the nature of the beast to bite yourself. I will tell you how smart this lady is here. Many years ago, I was complaining to her about the makeup and the difficulties of the makeup. And she also knew that I had always been a huge Star Trek fan, and that's a long story. And she said, Armin, if you want to be a knight, you have to wear the armor. So yes, I bit myself, but you know what? It was worth it.
Awesome. Oh, you're fantastic. I absolutely am a huge fan, and thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you for all you do as well.
Thank you so much.
And it certainly wasn't exactly a clear task that I set upon Nathan when I asked him to do this, because he asked, well, like, what kind of song? And I said, well, it has to be upbeat and fun, but related to Star Trek. And if you could throw in the whole quarantine thing that's happening in some way, that would be great. And, you know, just make it amazing. And, you know, from
and he did it. And he did it.
And he did. I mean, maybe I should be a director and just say vague things and take credit for what talented people do. I don't know. But his first song that he did for us was called Quarren Trek. And it was all about watching Star Trek in quarantine. And it just, yeah, blew me away.
Post it on our Facebook page if anyone wants to watch it.
Great, great. We'll do that.
Yes.
I know where to find it.
Yeah. Okay, before we let you guys go, do we, Walt, is there anyone left in the room who has a quick video question? Because I cannot believe we're actually at 10 o'clock already. Like, these go by so fast. And you guys are just so amazing to stick with us through.
Yeah, thank you for being so generous with your time.
Well, while Walt is looking for people, can I ask a question real quick?
Please.
Oh yeah, because I saw this actually pop up in the Q&A, and we were talking about Armin, your past role on Buffy, but I actually just started this show just the other week. Do you remember anything from your time on Stargate?
Yes. I had one episode of Stargate, which we filmed in Vancouver. It rained all the time. Before I took the show, well, let me tell you this story. I'll tell you this story. Okay, so if you've just seen that episode about the Nox, there are 4 people playing the Nox. There's myself, who ironically is playing a character called Antaeus, although we never mentioned that, but that is also, as you all know by now, is the name of the theater that we run, Kitty runs. So it's Antaeus, there's the wife figure, there's the son figure, and there's an older gentleman also. Those are the 4 Nox. Now, the actor playing the older gentleman is one of my dearest and closest friends, Ray Zyfo. And Ray and I had met doing a Broadway show in New York many years before. And I had been begging him for years to come out to California to look for acting work. Wonderful, wonderful actor. And circumstances prevailed against me, and he couldn't come. He just couldn't come. He was taking care of his mother. His mother finally passed away. And he said to me soon after that, now I'm free. I'm going to come out and visit. And I said, well, stay with me, stay with Kitty and I, and look around. And then if you like it, bring your wife, Kay, out, and you can move here, which he eventually did. But in the first 2 or 3 weeks that he was living with me and auditioning for shows, he auditioned for this episode of Stargate, and he got it. And we were very happy. This was his first job, having moved or partially moved to Los Angeles. We were ecstatic for him, and we were celebrating. Ironically, the very next day, out of the blue, phone call came from the casting director of that show and said, Armin, we would like to offer you the part, a part on Stargate of the character of Antaeus. And she started in, and I said, wait. I said, is this the show that Ray Zyfo just booked? Ray is my friend. And she was flabbergasted by that because there was no way that I should know that. And she went, yes, we hired him yesterday. And I said, great, I'll take it. She said, you don't want to know about the money or the billing? Or I said, no, I don't care about any of that stuff. This is the show that Ray's doing? And she said, yes. I said, let's do it. I'll take it. So Ray and I had a great time in Vancouver for a week as we checked out all the things we could do in Vancouver. And of course, we got to work together on Stargate. So it was a wonderful time. And this was, I think, the first season of Stargate. And all the actors knew, of course, that I was from Star Trek. And they were beginning to get offers for conventions and that sort of thing. And so I was a font of information for all these actors. They would come up to me and say, well, what do you do? How to react? What do they expect from you at a convention? So I was their mentor for a week. But it was a great time, and it rained.
When I told my friend that I had started watching and they told me you were going to pop up eventually, they like to refer to your character Antaeus as a gentle forest Quark.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was, a gentle forest Quark. It was lovely time. Although because it rained, you will never see any of our characters shot from below the knee. And you won't see our feet, you'll never see our calves or anything like that, because we were in so much mud out in the forest looking for our marks where you stand for a camera shot was impossible. They'd lay the mark down, somebody would pass over it, or we would step on it, and it would sink into the mud, and you wouldn't be able to see where your mark was. But it was really a wonderfully pastoral, rustic, gentle shoot.
So I'm about to go deep dork and say that Quark would say it was gleaming out there while you were filming?
You've got one on me here, Dave. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Glimmering?
Gleaming?
Gleaming?
Yeah, gleaming. It's the episode where Quark says that there are like 16 different words for rain on Ferenginar. Right now, it's gleaming out there.
You know, I don't remember that.
See, I warned you deep. I went deep dork on that.
You did indeed. I remember the episode, and I know exactly which one you're talking about, but I don't remember that.
Growing up in Oregon.
So we have Walt. You're going to bring in Drew. Drew works at the original series Bridge recreation in Ticonderoga.
Oh.
He's one of the hosts who, like a tour guide, who brings people through, does the tour, and is just such a great guy. We met him at Ticonderoga last year when GaaaysInSpaaace did a party and a table, and we absolutely adore working with these guys. And I think I have successfully now poached him to also work with us here at GaaaysInSpaaace. And I wanted to bring him on to introduce him to, you know, the GaaaysInSpaaace community, and also to be able to talk to you guys and see if maybe there's a time in the future when we could put Quark where he belongs, in the captain's chair. Let's see.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Have fun. Fine, Drew. Drew, did you work with, you must have worked with our dear friend Mark Zickery when he was up there shooting. I believe it was on your set, right?
They did a number of fan films for a long time. James Colley is the current owner, but I wasn't there for the fan filming. I came in much later. They've been building those sets since 1996. So it's 13,000 square feet, like full TOS set. We would love to have you come at some point once things return to normal. Get Quark in the captain's chair, as Dan said. But no, I did not get a chance to work with a lot of the people they work with, because I mean, Nichelle Nichols was there, George Takei was there in those fan films, so there was a number of, and even JG was on the set with them as well for some of those things.
Yeah. Do you live anywhere near JG? I know
No.
He's Trumansburg, New York. I shouldn't say that.
Upstate. He meant upstate, everybody. Somewhere.
I'm in upstate New York, but who's to say? I live very close to where this set is built, so Dan said I work there. So currently it's kind of up in the air as to what we're going to be doing this season. We'd love to be open and having a lot of our faces come. Bill Shatner is planned at some point to be visiting us again. But as with everything right now, it's kind of up in the air as to what the season might look like. But yeah.
Well, good luck, and you know, we hope that everything will get back to normal as soon as it can.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate both of you for everything you're doing, not only supporting GaaaysInSpaaace, but your work with the theater and all of that. Thank you so much just for promoting all of that. It's really great work that you are both doing, and of course for being on Star Trek and related series.
Well, I won the lottery. As I said, I was a huge Star Trek fan, and it's too long a story to tell here, but I did everything I could to get onto Deep Space Nine, and actually to be on TNG as well. So I always feel that I won the lottery, and I was for the cast members, I was the Star Trek expert amongst the cast. I remember someone early on in the first season of our show come up to me and said, "Armin, you know this stuff. What's a Klingon?"
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see the people that come to our set and take the tour, and the husband's a huge Trekkie and the wife has no clue. We have on display actually from the Las Vegas set after it closed, we got the Gorn. And one of my favorite memories was a husband and wife walked in, and the husband's like getting out his phone to take pictures. And the wife stops and says, "Why is there a slee stack here?" And he goes, "Honey, it's a gourd." Like, it was just the wrong show entirely. And I got the biggest laugh out of that. But it's so funny how, people don't always know the nuances of some of the species and things.
Exactly. That's why I call it a mythology.
Yeah.
Some of us know some myths, not other myths. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so diverse, infinite combinations and, IDIC. but yeah, Dan, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted me to mention about this.
I just wanted to introduce the world to you, my friend. Everybody say hello to Drew. He's going to be at a lot more GaaaysInSpaaace stuff, and our online video content will be much amplified and improved thanks to this guy. So
Yay.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you, Drew.
Yeah, gonna put those editing skills to use.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, man, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So now, Armin and Kitty, would you guys like to help one of our attendees to win a fabulous GaaaysInSpaaace prize?
We will do our best.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show a clip from an episode.
Yeah.
After the clip, I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you get the question right, okay, everybody has to lower their hands first from the raised hands thing. After I ask the question, then you can raise your hand. Whoever the first person is to raise their hand, they will basically win if you guys get the question right.
Oh my God, there's so much pressure.
So much pressure.
I'm familiar with the episodes, but I'm not familiar always with the names. So that may be a problem.
Okay, well, I think you're going to do okay. I think you're going to do okay. Let's, Rich, let's start out with the search question 1. I absolutely adore that scene and that moment because if nothing else, Quark was always 100% truthful and honest about what he really felt. And he truly believed, come on, man, I got a business to run. Absolute genius. Now,
he didn't want to be in any peril whatsoever.
Exactly. Now, okay, so here's the question. In that scene, Quark says to Sisko that he is not 3 types of things that you would need for this mission. I just need you to tell me one of the things that he is not.
I'm not an explorer. Thank you, Kate.
There it is. Yes. Well done. Okay, now wait, Walt, who was the first one with the hand up? Who won? Who won?
First one with the hand up was Amy Lynn Davis. So should I bring them on?
Bring Amy in.
Yes,
All right. All right, so let me get Amy.
Well, what I'm doing for right now is I'm just allowing the attendees to allow to talk rather than promoting all the way in. Seeing how
Okay. Okay. All right,
but
so
we got you down, and Amy, you can say something real quick if you want to thank the people that just won you.
Hi.
Hi, Amy.
Hi. Oh, I can't believe I'm
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Armin,
You got a tribble.
You're so cool, and I've seen you on like 5 different shows that I just know. And guess what? I have dementia, and I'm so happy to have this on the computer here. Well, it's a laptop, and I live in Laramie, Wyoming, and this has been, and I have to be in my apartment since March, and I get out on June 2nd to go to the doctor, and I'm so excited to do that. And this made me so happy you would not believe.
Oh,
And
that's
just
so
cool.
wonderful, Amy.
A mad woman.
Thank you so much, Amy, for joining us. We really appreciate it. And Amy, we've taken.
I want to be a GaaaysInSpaaace person.
So, Amy, we have taken down your information, and we will, after this, send you an email so we can get your address and send you out your prize. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
Did Amy have a question? She's going in and out on my computer.
There's my question. Oh, can I ask you something about your acting?
If you call it acting, yes, I can try and answer.
Yeah, because it's what you do. It's who you are. I have seen you on Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, and I've also seen you on Stargate and Charmed and Buffy and some other things that I can't remember because dementia, but okay. And I was wondering, of all the acting that you do, like all the comedies and drama and sci-fi, which ones do you like the best? And also, you know, of the genres, which you like the best, which you find the most challenging, and which parts might be your favorite that you would maybe go for, or that you have liked the most, you know, besides Quark, but also Quark.
Sure. Okay. So you named all that TV stuff, and that's great. I mean, God bless it. I'm very grateful for that, for all it's done for me. But for me, the genre that I like the best is theater, and the subgenre of theater is I really am challenged the most by doing Shakespearean roles. I've done them all my life, and that is what I like to do the most. Not only because it's live theater, but also because it's the most challenging. And if I can make my audience understand what I'm saying, what I'm feeling, what the subtext is, then I believe I've done what you accused me of being, which is and that's what means the most to me.
I thought so.
Would I recreate any of my more popular TV personas? Absolutely. Anytime. If they ask me, I would go back.
I would suggest anybody who's out there who gets a chance, Armin's doing these online 2-hour classes. They're so brilliant. Follow him on Twitter and follow me on Twitter, and we'll tell you when the next class is coming up, because you'll see why he loves it more than anything else. You'll understand why it's so important.
Yeah, I can see that. I haven't been to a theatrical production since the last time I saw my mother was 2014, and that was the last theatrical production I saw. It was Billy Elliot, yay! But anyway, and I am so worried about the theater. Just so worried about that. That when this happened, I went, all my blues musicians and all my Broadway people are going to be, and then all the small theaters. It's just going to be so hard, and my heart has been just so hurt by it. It's so in my soul, you know. I'm a writer and an artist. Well, I was a lot better before, but you know, but I'm still trying, and I have a huge love for the theater and music, and I'm just so hoping that you all and at all of everybody and all the conventions, that all these things were on my Amy Doodles bucket list, only I don't call it the bucket list, it's the Amy Doodles Adventures. And now I can't really, I don't know what to hope for, because I don't know how it's going to go, but I really wish everyone well.
Thank you, Amy. And we wish the same for you as well. You know, the great thing about Star Trek, if I can put this all together, is the one thing it always offered, and the one thing we should hold on with both hands. It always offered hope for the future, and that's what we're hoping for you and everyone else, Amy, for ourselves as well. Hope for the future. Hope that this crisis will pass without taking too many people with it, and that somehow we'll be able to go back to a life that we understand and that we can enjoy.
And maybe we can make better.
Yes, absolutely. Amy, thank you so much. Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Hi. Sorry, we just had a very quick, vital question from the Q&A. Could you repost how to donate to Antaeus Theater? So we will definitely, after this, Kitty and Armin, we should definitely get the link so we can make sure we can donate to your page, and we will repost it for anyone interested after we are done.
Thank you so much. I will email it to you guys.
Awesome.
Excellent. Okay, do you guys want to do one more? Can you do one more?
One more, and then I have to eat dinner or I'll turn into an evil bitch.
Yeah, you know, like, I was already thinking, God, if I could just get her a candy bar like those commercials to prevent her from becoming Joe Pesci, that's what I would do right now. Oh my God, Kitty, I love you so much. And by the way, on the whole, wanting to be the board queen, without makeup, nothing, you're already our queen, okay? Just need to throw that out there, all right? Just like...
But I saw her first.
You did, you know. I respect that, I respect it. Okay, Rich, let's play this next trivia question. Everybody in the room, don't raise your hands until after I've asked the question. And yeah, let's see if Armin and Kitty can help you to win some stuff. Rich, play it.
Come on, Quark, move it along. You should be in the emergency shelter by now.
I'm not going to any emergency shelter. This is my bar, and I'm going to defend it.
Really? And how do you plan to do that?
With this.
You're going to hit them with a box?
No, this is my disruptor pistol, the one I used to carry in the old days when I was serving on the Ferengi freighter.
I thought you were the ship's cook.
That's right. Every member of that crew thought he was a food critic. If the Klingons try to get through these doors, I'll be ready for them.
Dear Quark, I used parts of your disruptor to fix the replicators. Will return them soon wrong.
I will kill him.
With what?
Oh my God, pure genius. With what? So good, so good. Oh.
He is an incredible talent.
And you guys working together were just such a perfect pairing. Such a perfect pairing.
You should have seen them in real life together.
Yeah, you know, that's a big regret of mine that I didn't. I was fortunate enough to spend time with you and with Renee, but never overlapping. And I have found that the most telling times are when we get to see you guys all together, because that's when it's just, you know, you guys being you guys, and the relationship between Quark and Odo on screen, even though when you look at 7 years, there aren't an overwhelming amount of scenes.
No, there aren't. Renee and I always said that you know, people would say, well, we love the relationship between Odo and Quark, and we go, there wasn't that much of it.
But, you know, the genius of Renee is that all you needed, you know, maybe once a season was a quick, and it said everything, you know? Okay, back to okay, so here's the question, everybody. Here's the question. What did Rom use the parts from the disruptor to fix?
The replicator.
Oh.
The replicator, yes! Walt, who's our winner?
There, like 50 hands just popped up at once.
Jason Lee. Jason Lee.
I thought it was Jason Lee too.
too.
Okay. Yeah, it was Jason Lee. Okay.
All right, let's bring Jason in. He needs to thank them.
Jason, you can talk right now if you unmute yourself.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Jason.
We met each other at the cruise and at the event. I was in the event in Los Angeles.
When your picture pops up, I'll probably...
We're not get his picture, I don't think.
No, we're not. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's an attendee.
Yeah, I was on the cruise with you as well, and we took the excursion, and we were walking, and you actually invited me to your theater during that walk when we were out at the Mayan ruins.
They were fantastic,
Yeah, they were
weren't
terrific. And
Yes.
were you there when the gentleman proposed to his fiancée?
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, that was very special.
Is there a video? Because it says my host has highlighted a video, but I don't see an option for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've left your video off at the moment.
That's fine.
Jason.
I just wanted to let you know I did donate last week to your theater for $100, and I did had a question for Kitty about Storyville.
Yeah.
What do you think your plans are going to be moving forward for that?
So, you know, we're going to do the short, and then we decided we're going to do a feature length, and we were going to shoot. We got enough investors to shoot the entire feature length. For those of you guys who don't know it, it's it's a film set in New Orleans whorehouses in 1917 with Nana and I and Marina, Terry Farrell, Eliza Frakes, Harry Groener, for those you guys who know the
Mayor from Buffy.
The mayor from Buffy, and he did a bunch of Star Treks. A lot of people you know. So nobody knows when the world's going to open back up again. And one of our big investors' business is really struggling, so we'll probably double down to find that chunk of money again, but we're going to shoot it as soon as we can. Everybody's all in. We,
Kate had mentioned on the call last week that she was hearing about how some production is going on with entire casts being quarantined altogether.
So Kristen, who's producing and directing, who runs a lesbian film company called Tello Films, which is wonderful. Armin and I both worked with them, and I produced with her once a series called Riley Para. Kristen runs on a pretty tight budget, so I don't think she can afford to quarantine everybody. And there's a lot of, it's set in a whorehouse, so there's a lot of in a bunch of whorehouses. Nana and I own a whorehouse together, and it's based on a true story. Terry owns one, and Marina owns one. And so there's a lot of, fighting and kissing and that kind of stuff. So it's hard until we figure out what to do with COVID-19 to see how it's going to work. But I promise you, we're going to make it, because we're all really, really devoted to making it. And the woman who wrote the original script that we then adapted to a feature, she passed away, and her widow is also involved. And we really want to honor what Mariah has written. And we want to honor Jennifer, because and Jennifer has ended up being both of our students at Antaeus since Mariah passed away, which is also a hard story, but it's a fantastic story about women deciding that they're going to take their own strength back. It's pretty great, and I promise you that we'll make it, and all of your Star Trek people will be there with me. So yeah.
That's great. Just wanted to let you know I'm also one of your investors.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't tell you how fantastic the Star Trek fandom has been and how much we all appreciate it. Marina and Terry and Anna and I talk about it a lot, because we all talk a lot.
It is a truism. It's one of the great things about the Star Trek fandom. It doesn't matter the charity or the cause. Star Trek people are enormously generous. That if they hear that someone is in need, they step up to the plate over and over and over again. It is a great, great attribute of the fandom.
What you guys did for Melissa when Aaron passed. All right, I'm gonna start crying. What you guys did for her. Thank you. Just thank you.
It's, you know what, it is honestly, guys, it's a complete and total reflection of what you give the world with what you do. The love and the difference that you make in countless people's lives cannot be, it cannot be quantitated. So I think that when there are opportunities for us on the other side to try to do something to enhance your life in a tiny fraction of the way you've enhanced ours, we're going to jump at that every chance we can, because we could not be more grateful for what you've done for us. And, myself and the gay community in particular, we largely, for me, I'm just going to speak for myself, growing up did not have the supportive, loving role models in my family to look to gauge, like, well, how do I become a good person? How do I become a man? How do I become, how I learned it was watching how people on Star Trek behaved. And you do the job of mother, father, best friend, brother, sister, and all of it. And we will always be forever grateful, and anytime that we can try in some small way to contribute to your lives, we are there immediately.
You just did. You just did. Thank you, Dan.
On a lighthearted note, I just want to mention that Quark would be the best person to tell people to stay at home because he did spread a virus around the station in the first season.
He did. He did. But I don't think he'd ask them to stay out of his bar. Although we do have a Ferengi as the President of the United States, but that's neither here nor there.
That's being too generous.
He would actually have them come to the bar after being chucked out free from Dr. Bashir.
Yeah. 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 I won't go into politics, no.
Yeah. Jason, thank you so much for being with us, for your question. And I'm going to come up with a real good prize for you, man. So once again, thank Armin and Kitty for winning it for you.
You made it pretty easy.
Yes, you made it very easy.
I'm not going to lie.
I could not tell you the names of those 2 episodes. I remember them, but I cannot remember the names of the episode. It was always the next script. It was always the next script, the next script, the next script.
Well, you know what? I'm going to let you guys go. You have been so generous, and it has also, just on a personal note, it's so great to see you guys. Like,
see you.
Miss you. I miss, you know, the real life interaction. And I swear, next time I see you, Kitty, there's going to be, oh, Rich, you're, okay. The next time I see you, and it's allowed, I'm going to give you a big ass hug that might last longer than would be normally expected.
If you don't, I'm going to be really upset. And I just want to say one other thing. I'm so thrilled that this thing got you and Rich together. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Kind of crazy, right?
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh. I love you, babe, but you got to stop with that feedback.
We have a very small apartment, and so we have to do it from 2 different screens. It's a mess over here.
Yeah,
but thank you so much. Yeah.
In walking 5 feet, babe, you just gave the entire world a complete tour of our apartment. Thanks.
We live in New York, we get it.
But again, I love you guys so much. Thank you. And
thank you, Kitty and Armin, for joining us. We really appreciate having you here. It's been a lot of fun for us, and I'm sure I speak for everyone in the as the attendees that they love seeing you guys, and it's refreshing, is what it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very sweet. Who are you having next week?
Next week we're doing just a virtual game night because if I continue to stay awake like 48 hours in a row, I'm gonna die. So I'm giving myself a week off, but the following week is gonna be our Klingon week with J.G. Hertzler, Bob O'Reilly, and I'm gonna say it now, I'm calling in a Dorney favor, and I'm gonna try my best to get him in there too.
But if you would like to join us for game night, you guys are welcome to join us there too.
Thank you very much. I might do that. I might tune in for the Klingons. At least two of the 3 people, no, all 3 of them, are very, very close friends and good people. I mean, I've known O'Reilly, oh my God, long before Star Trek. We did Hamlet together.
Wow.
And you did Mr. Rogers.
And we did Mr. Roberts together. So have Bob tell you the story about when he forgot his lines in Hamlet. That's a good story.
Oh my God, please tell me it was to be or...
No, he was doing a miraculous thing. I'll have him tell the story, but he got a little lost.
We all get lost sometimes.
Absolutely. Thank you guys again so much. And yeah, we will keep mentioning the theater. I think it is so important. Everybody thinks long term. This will end. Life will resume. And the things that are important in life need to be there when that happens. So
the arts are important to everyone, no matter where you get your art, whether it's New York or California or in between. It doesn't matter. Art makes a difference in life, and if we don't support the arts, they will disappear.
Yeah, we've been trying to support a lot of arts organizations right now. It's just important.
Yeah.
Important. It makes us human.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a great night.
You too.
Yay. Oh, so great. Everyone still here in the chat. There is more to come. But I just, really kind of want to take a minute. I think everyone in the chat should take a minute and take a breath, because that was such an amazing, it was so amazing to spend that time with them. I think we ran, the gauntlet from the serious and the real to the fun and the silly. And God, I never thought I'd say this, everyone, but I love doing virtual events now. I was a big non-believer in this virtual stuff, but I am now a believer thanks to people like ARMIN SHIMERMAN and Kitty Swink. So amazing. As we get ready for the next phase of the night, Richard Hart, I would like you to play the very first original song performed by Mr. Nathan Bonk, because who knows, maybe you guys didn't see it, and he is worth the rewatch. So let's take a look at that.
I didn't realize you wanted me to play that. Do we have it already?
Yes. Yeah. It's.
I see.
Bye.
It's gonna sound a little different now. Set phase just too stunned, embrace for impact. Been in quarantine so many days, I stopped keeping track. I keep myself in, we cannot go out. I rewatch Star Trek and I don't feel so down. And I try so very hard not to lose it. Can't listen to that orange rage you with. I swear I'll scream if he something up again. Yeah, but I know someday that we'll all go out. We'll go back to work in the gym to work out. Until then, the next gen GS9, Voyager, and OG. Yeah, we'll get me through quarantine. Totally with that. We might have to wait, don't never give up. We'll get our world back and go back to just spreading love. Till then, beam me up, Kirk to Enterprise. You get off my ship, and there are only 4 lights. And I know that it'll be so amazing. Coffee shops and bars and doing gay things. But until then, there's coffee in that nebula. Yeah, and I know someday that we'll all go out. We'll go back to work in the gym to work out. Until then, CBS, all access, and my home TV screen. Yeah, we'll get me through quarantine.
Hey, everybody, sorry about that. We have run so much longer than we thought. We're like, Rich is like, can't we go to bed yet? And no, we can't. No. But Nathan, thank you once again for that incredible rendition. Once we are allowed to be in physical contact, we are getting that boy into a studio, and we're going to film some super cool Trek-inspired music videos. And assuming Disney will not really go after us, we're going to do the same thing for Kira Knott's performance from last week, because, oh my God, if you saw it, I'm just worried that the mouse might attack us. We'll see. Kira, you would agree, right? The mouse might attack.
I work for the mouse, so yeah.
We'll be cautious about it, but we're gonna make that.
Dan, that reminds me. Are me and Nathan still set to do our duet of "Make It So"?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. Now, if there's a way, and I'm sure there is, to do a duet remotely, but at the same time, I mean, everything we do, fortunately, is live to tape, like SNL, which is why I feel totally justified in the fact that we do live to tape. But if you guys could figure out a way to do that, I think that would be pretty amazing. If not,
Nathan, if you're listening, hit me up. I got ideas.
I love that. Where is Nathan? Hey, Walt, can we bring Nathan back into the chat?
Let's do it. Okay, so Nathan, give me 2 seconds. Should I promote him to a panelist?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, Nathan, give me. I'm waiting for your name to pop up. There you go.
Oh,
and there you go.
And that's his bed.
So Nathan, you should be able to talk.
Yeah.
There's your bed. Okay. All right. Well, here. All right.
He'll be back. In the meantime, Walt, can you bring in Mr. Nick Jones?
Okay. So let's get Nick Jones. Let me see if I can find. Okay, there he is. Okay. So here, Nick. I will allow you to talk. You should see a pop up on your screen to talk.
Hey.
There you go.
You don't get to see my beautiful, beautiful face this week?
Well, here, I don't know. Rich, are you there?
Sorry.
I'm here.
Nick is the guy who found the randomizer that we used last week to select our winners. And the winners are selected based on their individual numbers that came on their tickets. Now, I did not have time to send Nick the list of those numbers to put in the randomizer to choose our winners. So here's what I'm going to ask. Something that has been asked of me often. Kira, can you vamp for me for give me 4 minutes? You can sing? Love you. Be right back. Don't go anywhere, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, my face. Okay, never mind. I guess not. I'm just a faceless voice now. See, I had a.
Oh, Nick disappeared. I don't know where he went. Anyway, well, I do want to thank everyone for
There we go.
there he is. He's back. He's got video now.
Yeah, so I was trying to get Nick up here so that you and Nick can talk since you got to, kill a couple minutes.
I know. It's funny. I literally told Dan before this started, I'm really bad at plugging, but I'm gonna try. I do want to thank all of our participants that are currently watching, or that we're watching. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for donating to GaaaysInSpaaace in order to get here. We know even asking for $1 is sometimes, especially right now in this situation, is a lot for some people. So we really, really appreciate it that you have kind of put that aside for us. All that money goes right back into being able to host this stuff for you guys and do fun events and kind of keep that GaaaysInSpaaace spirit going, even while we're all quarantined in our respective corners. So we all do really appreciate it. I hope you all will join us for virtual game night next week. If it's anything like our past virtual game nights, we've been playing Jackbox games.
Real fun.
Yeah, if any of you are familiar with Jackbox games, like Fibbage, Quiplash.
Just because I'm such a glutton for punishment, I am considering, because our attendance has been pretty decent, of splitting it up, having one room for Jackbox games and another room and I have to figure out the mechanics of it, but if anyone has a Switch. And I'm thinking that we're going to have a Mario Kart tournament with a winner, whoever gets first place in that. So that's what we're considering for next week, and we'll see if I can pull it off. If not, we'll just play Jackbox games. So
when you said
Jackbox
Switch,
games are still fun.
When you said Switch, I thought this was going to be full Smash tournament. Hell yeah!
Like Melee, like get a Melee tournament going.
Yeah, Well, I thought Mario Kart would be more accessible for people the first time around, and then we'll get to more advanced Smash Brothers later on.
Okay, we are. Hey, Nick, I just sent you the file with everyone's numbers. So if you could go ahead and access that, and once you're ready to put it into your number random generator, we can find out who is the new proud owner of a Tribble by the Science Division folks, which is a $69 retail value, everyone. Just saying, just throwing that out there. That's what I'm going to have to pay when I get one because kind of need it.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Can I just say something real quick?
Sure. Oh, only.
Thank you to the USS Osiris for what was it?
No, you froze for a second.
Dan?
I said you could say it, but only if you don't freeze.
Okay.
Not a good joke for tech. Go.
Thank you to the US Osiris for having me earlier, letting me explain tell what's going on here, since Dan was supposed to do that, but he slept in.
Well,
sorry.
I'm more like passed out. Like, apparently it turns out that after 48 hours, the human body really kind of takes over, regardless of what the brain says.
Yeah, I can relate big time.
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out to Kaylee and Jay from Science Division. I met them at STLV last year, and they are just two very incredible people. I had so many sit-down conversations with them. I even met them at Starbucks, and we started talking about their tribbles. So even if you don't win tonight's tribble, I please urge you, go to ScienceDiv. Is it .com or .org?
.com.
It's .com.
I think so.
And get one of their Klingon knowing tribbles. It's so worth it, I promise you.
Yeah.
And they're just incredibly sweet and kind people. I've had the extreme pleasure of getting to know them a little bit over the last couple months.
Very well said, Kira. Yeah, that's exactly, I met them because we had booths across from each other. I think it might have been Trek Condoroga the first time. And yes, it was. And we were kind of like in the far corner of the room here, and they were in the far corner over there. But I heard about it, had to go over and see what was happening, and looked at it and thought, God, I wish I had thought of this.
So the first time I actually saw their tribble, I was actually in my Gorn cosplay. So they didn't actually see my face, but they let the Gorn hold a tribble, and there's this great photo that they have of the Gorn holding a tribble. I'll see if I can get that from them.
And that's you?
Yeah, that was me.
Yes, Nick, you have a question.
That list you sent me, was that supposed to be added on to what we already have, or is this all just fresh?
Just use that one list, because that's the entire roster of tonight's attendees. Cool.
Damn, I don't see my name on here. I don't have a chin. I'm kidding. It's fine.
That's because we let you in for free, my dear.
Fair enough.
Want some ice for that burn?
No, I have a hypo for it.
Good enough.
Anyway, so yeah, should be good to go then.
All right, great. Let me just say.
Big shout.
What's that?
I was about to say big shout out to Quarks. They're doing delivery on drinks now. It's a glass of Tranya.
Ooh, I'm surprised it's not Romulan ale, because I know you are quite partial to the Romulan ale.
That is true, but I wanted to switch it up.
There you go. So I'd just like to say, before we draw the winners for tonight, last week, the winners that got a GaaaysInSpaaace swag bag, which included a GaaaysInSpaaace t-shirt, a GaaaysInSpaaace bracelet, magnet, tote bag, and I think that's everything that we put in there. We had Nicholas Gennaro from Buenos Aires, Argentina, was our first winner. Kristen Berry from Orlando, Florida was our second. And Natalie Mott from the UK was our third winner. And those prizes, along with the quarantine masks that were made by the amazing Sarah Hart, the mama of GaaaysInSpaaace, will be sent out on Monday with everything else to everyone who won trivia. Yes, Rich has something.
Yeah, if we were smart, we would have said no international winners, but because we're terrible business people, we're centering it everyone. So there you go.
Yeah. Thanks to the fact that so many of you were exceedingly generous in your donations to be a part of these. You know what? I don't know if you could tell from tonight yet, but we were able to buy new cables to connect our computers to the internet that hopefully made this a little less jumpy or whatever. And within the next like 2 weeks or so, again, thanks to your generosity, we will be able to upgrade our main computer here, which will mean that we're going to be able to do way more stuff, and we're just going to keep this stuff going. And it also means that we could eat the cost of having to ship something internationally for like $50, which again, not the smartest business choice, but it was Roddenberry. So I don't care where you are in the world. If you win something, I'm gonna find a way to get it to you. With that being said, Nick, we are going to choose our very first winner, and this first winner is our Tribble winner. Hit it.
Alrighty, hold on a second. I'm trying to share my screen so I could do this. Is it showing?
It is.
Now, welcome to the Dabo Wheel. Unfortunately, we don't have a Ferengi here to profit off this, so let's spin it. Give me the word, Dan.
All right, spin it, spin it, spin it. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop. Hit it. Choose that winner, baby.
That is your number. You're a winner.
All right. Now, I realize no one immediately knows if that's you, but as we get ready to spin for the next prize, Nick is going to find out exactly what your name is so we can tell you that you've won.
I'm going to find out. I have to spin and do that at the same time.
Oh, double duty, man. Double duty.
Okay, I'll look that up in just a second.
Being
I gotta
just is not an easy thing.
You're right. I'm just going to put that over up here real quick so I can remember what that was. Yep, and spin it again.
Spin it again. Now, the next 3 winners will receive a GaaaysInSpaaace swag bag. Please don't live in Antarctica, because that's pricey.
I'm sorry, Dan, but I think this one isn't Antarctica, but it's a lot worse than that. It's one of the Mars colonies.
Oh boy, even more pricey. But you know what? We're gonna make that happen. We're gonna make that happen. Kira, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
I would like you to take control of this wheel for the next 2 spins while I run and try to figure something else out real quick.
Okay, so we got 2 more spins left?
2 more.
For GaaaysInSpaaace swag bags?
Yes, correct.
Sweet. All right, Nick, you got that last number?
Yep, I got them up here, and you can't see it; it's off screen, but I got them listed.
Cool. And then, all right, so let's give this old wheel another spin. See who our next winner is.
As Captain Pike would say, hit it.
Hit it.
God, I'm so excited for that.
But by the way, as you mentioned names like Captain Pike, I just do like Google searches for like who these people
Well,
are.
yeah,
So
for anyone who's watching
for people
who
that
doesn't
don't
know,
know, Walt is our designated green Trekkie. You know, his knowledge of Trek is very limited. So he's a good person to have in the audience. So we have to explain what's going on.
But I'm learning. But I'm learning.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah,
this is
we'll
good. This is
brainwash
good
you
for me.
but it also means all of his opinions are unbiased. So
He's the most
That's
theoretical
right.
possible way.
That's right. So if you want a true outsider's opinion, I'm the person to ask. But I'm slow. But I'm slowly becoming an insider. Okay, so I'll give it off to.
All right, Nick, you got that number off to the side?
Yep, and we're just waiting on the last one. I also want to apologize for picking the worst music that plays after it. Because you can pick that. It could
Was
be
that
applause.
really your choice, though, or did that?
It could be applause. It could be that fanfare. It could be like something else.
It's fine. It works great. I like it.
Well,
All right, so we've got one more spin left for one more lucky winner of a GaaaysInSpaaace swag bag. So Nick, hit it.
Hitting it.
And our lucky number is that one.
That's right.
All right, that is our last winner. So Nick has all of the numbers now, and he's going to go search for who those numbers belong to.
That I will.
Second, and we'll be back with our names, and who knows? It might be you.
It might be you, unless you are me, in which case it's not me. It's not me. It's Kira. It's not you either. I'm sorry. It's not.
Good. I've got a lot of swag already. I'll take a break on swag.
I have the first winner.
All right.
If your name is Sean Rusnack, and I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Sean Rusnack, you are a winner.
Wait, he's the
triple winner.
Triple winner?
Triple winner.
Did he already win a triple?
No. That was from he's just the luckiest GaaaysInSpaaacer I know. That holy cow. That's incredible. Sean, dude, who is so happy he was here tonight? I think it's you, my friend. That's amazing. Congratulations. Is Walt, is Sean still with us in the chat?
Let me check for you. So, Sean Rusnack?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, so Sean, I am going to. You should see a button pop up on your screen. Just click on that to talk to everyone.
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, you should sound a lot more excited, my friend. You just won the big prize of the night.
I know. I had my ticket number up on my phone to check, and I saw it on the wheel, and I could not believe it.
Well, you know what? I think you owe entropy and complete randomness. Big thank you, my friend.
I know. When we were in Las Vegas last summer, I couldn't believe, like, we were sitting right next to them, and I checked it out. Oh, my God.
Yep. Like I said, I'm officially jealous. Like, I really want one. But the budget here at Shea DV does not allow for things like that. But, Sean, I want you to promise me that you will at least make me godfather to your trip.
Well, next time I come down to the city, I'll bring it with me in my bag.
Love it. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thanks again, man, for being here, and congratulations.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, Nick, our second winner, GaaaysInSpaaace swag bag that I have to ship personally. Try not to make it Antarctica.
Well, like I said, one of them's the Mars colonies, but not much we can do about that.
Okay.
One of our second winners is Cat King.
Cat King!
Oh, from the seventh rule.
Yes! Is Cat with us in the chat, Walt?
I believe so. I saw them ask a question.
Let me check. Cat King, I don't see. Oh, it's spelled as Cat with a K. So here, actually, so Cat with a K, you should see a pop-up on your screen. Just click that to talk.
Hi, everybody.
Hey-o.
Cat, congratulations.
I can't believe I won. I never win anything.
Well, that's just going to have to change the more time you spend with us.
You know what, Dan, the time that we spent in STLV the last, several years and all these events, that's been the greatest gift. So thank you.
Oh, that is adorable. Please say more things like that. Not that I'm needy or anything.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm cutting you off.
Yeah. Wise. That is a wise call. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations on your win. I hope we still get to see you in Vegas this year. You know, who knows? Who knows? Yes, maybe not. But, you know, either way, if Vegas happens or not, we're going to keep doing these events. And, you know, hopefully you'll keep joining us. So in some way, we'll still be connected.
Yeah, can I just really quickly, because I am who I am, need to say thank you for what you said about Aaron. I work on the 7th Rule and with Ryan and Aaron and Sirach, and Aaron is with us every day when we do the show, every week when we record together. So thank you for everything you said. I was crying so much I couldn't even bring myself to, you know, for a while to speak. So this is thank you. Just thank you for everything you said about Melissa as well. Melissa's actually kindly, graciously offered to assist myself and Adrian Grady with hosting our own virtual convention. We actually held one at the 50th convention at STLV and in person and at one of the suites. And we're going to be doing a virtual one this summer at sometime in August. So keep an eye out for that news coming from the CriterieCon team. And Melissa will be one of our gracious, good hosts, and we're blessed to have her on board. So I want to say thank you.
Kat, that is amazing. That is so great. And GaaaysInSpaaace will promote the heck out of that, because anything at all that Melissa is involved in, we are 1000% behind. And we know that, you know, whatever it is, it's going to make us smile, laugh a little bit, and feel gratitude for the fact that it happened, because everything she does is just so, once again, I said it before, like the most beautiful soul I've ever met. And yeah, anything we can do to help her to spread that to the world and encourage the world to send it back to her tenfold, we're there.
Yes, and her son.
Yes, absolutely.
Aaron's son, yes.
Aaron's son, yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Love it. Thank you so much, Kat.
Much love to everyone. Thank you so much for doing this. Keep doing it.
Thank you. All right, Nick, who is what are we up to now? 3rd winner or 2nd?
Morgan Binnix. I'm not. I hope I pronounced that right. I really hope I did, or else I'm going to feel like crap.
Let's bring Morgan in. Is Morgan still with us, Walt?
Give me a second. I need to find some people. No, Morgan is not in. I kept checking. Nothing.
Okay, no problem.
So,
we will let her know. The only thing that I'm concerned about is I think Morgan might already have every design of our T-shirts. I don't know what I'm going to give her, but I will talk to her and figure it out. Nick, was that our last winner, or do we have?
No, we have a 4th, because you said pick 2 more after our 2nd.
Let's do it, man.
And our final winner is Joe Coleman.
Okay, Joe.
It's spelled Kuhlmann. I'm sorry, I'm horrible with English, so.
No, that's all right. I'm not seeing Joe here, so it's possible that they were here before, but then maybe after like 10 or 10:30 they started to, you know.
Yes, because we are officially an hour over, so that makes complete sense. We will make sure that we reach out to Joe, let him know that he was our final winner tonight. And once again, everybody who joined us, thank you so much for being here. Next, do you want to talk about next week?
Again, next week, again, we are going to be doing game night for GaaaysInSpaaace. We are most likely going to be doing social Jackbox games. We may, if I have enough time and I don't feel like torturing myself, we may have a Switch Mario Kart tournament where the winner of the tournament will have a special GaaaysInSpaaace prize. And we'll try to make it very good to entice people to join. But if you don't have a Switch, that's fine. We'll still have Jackbox games, so you can participate on your smartphone. But again, thank you so much for all of our volunteers and our hosts, especially Kira and Walt. We really appreciate all the help that you guys have done tonight. And
I could not have done this without Kira. Their help was huge tonight. There were so many times when I was just like searching for something, and then they came and just
it takes a village,
they made me look good. So yeah.
And again, thank you to Nathan for that wonderful song, and for Nick for helping us with some of this tech as well at the end. And of course, to our special guests, we will any of the information that you may have missed tonight, we will repost it for you tonight and tomorrow. And again, after we're done, please join us on the Discord channel. We will send that out right after we're done, and you can continue just chatting with us on there.
Awesome. Thank you guys again so much. Next week is going to be game week, which means I get to actually relax for a few days and then obsess about making the next big celebrity night happen the following week with our amazing friend JG Hertzler and Bob O'Reilly. And once again, like I said, I'm going to see if I can get us some Dorney. Cross your fingers. Kapla. Thank you all. See you soon. Good night.
Good night.